A little bit different wrinkle there for QND. I don't know if they've run that out of the shotgun yet this year. That was really a true option to the right-hand side. Trips left, option right. Anders is the pitch man, and McKay thought he had some yard that he cut upfield, but nothing doing against that front four of the Gray Ghosts.
So 3rd and 8 for QND from their own 27-yard line. 3-by-1 to receivers. Sidecar left, Dalen Anders. Ball in the far hash. McKay takes the snap and rolls here strong side. Wants to fire. Now fires, and he has Jordan Chappell open, who slips, but gets to the Raider 39. That's a pickup of about 12-yard lines and a 1st and 10 for QND.
Well, another nice job. Joe McKay there showing some patience. Rolling to his left there. Chappell on a corner route. Strabel was closing in on McKay, getting to his face, but McKay was able to hold on just for an extra count or two until Chappell got open there along the sideline and put it right on the money.
Now the Raiders get that first down and come out in the power I from their own 39. Ball in the near hash. 1st and 10 QND. Anders the deep back. Ginnebacher and Kinsel the up backs. Long count by the Raiders. Give it to Brady Ginnebacher. He bounces off the pile and is able to get to the 41-yard line for a gain of about 2. It'll be 2nd and a long 8 for QND.
Not much doing so far on the interior run game here for QND. Really nothing going at all there. Well, they gave him 2. Didn't look like much there for Ginnebacher, but
you get the impression that the QND coaches feel, well, all eyes are on Dalen Anders, so let's
sure.
Run a couple other plays so they keep that honest. On 2nd and 8, quick count, give it to Anders. He cuts it up the middle of the field, and it's stacked up there for a gain of about 2 more. Looks like they're going to put the ball at the 44, so we'll give Anders a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd and about 5 for QND from their own 44-yard line.
That time trying to get Dalen Anders back in rhythm and giving QND a little bit more workable 3rd down. Let's see if they go back to passing here and maybe get Joe McKay rolled out again.
Jordan Chappell brings the play in from the sideline. We played 2 minutes and 10 seconds. QND got a first down on 3rd down, and now they're faced with a 3rd and 5. Out of the spread, 3-by-1 the receivers, 3 to the near side. 1 to the far side is Barry Welper. Ball in the middle of the field. Anders sidecar right. McKay takes the snap. Looking left the whole way. Fires, and it's incomplete. As McKay tried to put it over one defender and in front of the other, and it fell short of Brady Ginnebacher incomplete. The Raiders will have to punt it away.
Yeah, I was trying to hit him out on a 6-yard out, and Riley Beard, the 5'7", 160-pound junior, did a nice job trying to get underneath the route. I think it kind of caught McKay off guard a little bit, threw him off rhythm, and threw it outside of Ginnebacher's reach.
And what do you know, Zeke Little has made it back from Springfield in time for the first Raider punt.
Yeah.
Little played with the soccer team in Springfield, and his mom was his official escort back to town, and he's made it just in time for the punt. Snap was a little wobbly, but Little gets the punt away. It's a wobbly kick to the far side, away from everybody. Doesn't take that big a bounce, but now crawls its way towards the IVC 20-yard line. So the Gray Ghosts hold on defense, and they take over basically at their own 20. 1st and 10, 9:25 left to go, quarter number 1. No score in IVC's first turn at bat.
Well, you got to like the way the Gray Ghosts fly around on defense. We talk about Strabel really getting in McKay's face, even though he did convert that 3rd down pass. Kelly Netzel at safety doing a nice job a couple times, really flying up. We talked some of those Hannibal safeties throughout the year, real aggressive against the run. We saw a little bit from Netzel on that first possession of QND.
Diamond formation on 1st down for IVC. Gould takes the snap, and he gives it to Blake Strabel. He tried to bounce it to the outside and got about 5 yards on the play. And actually, where that far side linesman ran in, they gave him a very generous spot. They're going to give Strabel a gain of 6.
Strabel's a real straight ahead runner. Linebacker, fullback, 6'4", 210 pounds, and a horse to bring down.
Now, Coach Cannell told me this morning he runs between the tackles. He won't bounce it outside. So, of course, on 1st down, he bounces it to the outside. On 2nd and 4, turn, and they give it to Strabel again. He's got the 1st down and more as he gets it past the 35 to about the 37-yard line, close to the 38. That's a gain of about 13 for Blake Strabel, and 2 running plays and a 1st down for Chillicothe IVC.
Notre Dame coming out a little bit sluggish here on defense. They're kind of getting off the pile, walking around a little bit. Need a little boost of energy here.
So it is 1st and 10, IVC. They mark the ball at about the 37-yard line. Out of the diamond backfield formation in the pistol. Gould turns and hands it off to Natesel. And Natesel runs through one tackle, now bounces it to the outside, and he's down the far sideline. Now cuts it back, and he's in Raider territory to about the 43-yard line. So that's a gain of 13, almost 20 yards for Kelly Natesel on his first carry.
Well, it's catching QND a little bit off guard so far. It's a real unique formation, the pistol formation, where the quarterback's about 3 yards, 2 to 3 yards behind center. He's got about 1 or 2, 3 running backs in total then to each side of him. 2 on one side, 1 on the other. So far, it's catching QND a little bit off guard. Seems like they're kind of a little lost, only getting some arm tackle attempts in there so far.
From the QND 43 on 1st and 10, turn, and Strabel has it, and he's stacked up. Still running hard. He gets to the 40 for a gain of about 3. It'll be 2nd and 7 for IVC from the Raider 40-yard line.
Jimmy Case able to wrap him up there. That's how you got to get, that's what you want to try to get down here against this Grey Ghost offense, against these run first, run second type of teams. Really put them behind the chains. That time able to get Case, able to get a 3-yard gain despite Case's nice tackle. You really want to try to put him in like a 2nd and 9 type position.
2nd and 7 from the Raider 40. They turn, they give it to Strabel again, and he pounced forward. And it looked like the Raiders thought he was going to go down after the initial hit, and Strabel kept the legs moving and picked up extra yardage. He takes it from the 40, does Blake Strabel, to the Raider 37. That's a gain of 3, but it brings up about a 3rd and 4 rather than about a 3rd and 6.
You kind of get the feeling we're going to see Strabel get 30 carries tonight.
Well, Coach Cannell told me, I can't remember if it was last week or the week before, one of the IVC backs seemed like he ran it every play of the first half, and then in the second half, they gave it to the other running back for every play. So that's kind of how they get 100 yards out of each running back. They feature one half and one the other.
Yeah, you got one half to do it.
Out of the diamond formation in the pistol, it's 3rd and a short 4 for IVC from the Raider 37-yard line. And they run an inside give to the wingback Natezel, and he will be tackled short of the first down, just inside the Raider 35 at the 34. It's a gain of about 2.5, and will bring up 4th and a short 2 for IVC.
Kind of an inside counter play where Gold reverse pivots out of there. Nice tackle by Logan Schutte, squared him up and brought him right down. Really no yards after contact. That does force a 4th down. It looked like it might have gone for a 1st down, but thanks to the sure tackle by Schutte, gives QND a chance to come up with a 4th down stop.
4th, less than 2, more than 1. From inside the Raider 35 at about the 34. Out of the diamond formation on this 4th down play. Gould takes the snap, gives it to Strabel. No, he wanted to pull it out, and Gould almost fumbled it. And the Raiders stuff the 4th down play and take over on downs.
Matt Horvath, the first one to get to goal. That you're right. He pivoted out, wanted to keep that. I'm not sure if it was going to be a dive, but if he wanted to keep it around in for a quarterback sweep. But Horvath said, you don't get any more time to decide. And he just brought him right down. So nice job by Schutte on 3rd down, Horvath on 4th down to stop the Grey Ghosts in their first drive.
It just seemed to me like Gould saw Horvath coming and decided, well, I can't leave it in this guy's belly, and tried to take it out. When he took it out, it popped up in the air, and Gould did a good job to recover, but he got stuffed from that point. So the Raiders come out in the power eye, 1st and 10, going the other way at the 37-yard line. No score midway through the first quarter. Kinsel comes in motion. They run the counter to Anders. He goes to the right sideline. He's got 5. He's got 10. And in a blur, he's got 20. Cuts it back to the middle of the field and is knocked off his feet at the Grey Ghost 36-yard line. Boom. 27-yard gain for Dalen Anders.
Yeah, it's looking a lot like last week. There's one play that you thought the Grey Ghost would have scouted out. It'd be out of that power back set with motion to the left and counter back to the right-hand side, because QND ran that into the ground last week with lots of success against Illini West, and Anders looking real light on his feet and real quick. It's a big play for QND.
Ashley gave him a generous spot, too, to the IVC 35. It's 1st and 10 QND on a 28-yard pickup by Dalen Anders. Now they give up the middle, and bouncing off tacklers and being tackled at about the 31-yard line is the ball carrier for QND, Parker Kinsel, who had a very nice game last week.
Yeah, and a nice tackle there by Chase Dietrich, the 5'11", 195-pound junior linebacker. Hit Kinsel for about a 3-yard gain, and then Kinsel able to keep moving his feet and take Dietrich for a little bit of a ride. It looked like he might have had a 2nd and 7 type of play, but Kinsel able to carry Dietrich for a few more yards.
Ball almost to the 30-yard line of IVC. We'll call it the 31. 2nd and 6 QND. Quick count. Give it to Anders right up the middle of the field. And he'll get inside the 30, but get pushed back from there. Near side linesman has him marked at about the 28-yard line. It's a short gain, and it'll bring up 3rd and short for QND. It looks like a gain of about 3. It'll be 3rd and a long 2 for QND.
I imagine QND will keep it on the ground here unless they want to try to boot Joy McKay out to the left.
Boy, you're a frustrated offensive coordinator. Let's see what the Raiders do here. They come out in the power ice Actually, they come out in an I backfield where receivers split to both sides. Ginnebacher, the only fullback, with Anders the deep back. Third and about 2.5 for QND. IVC shows blitz up the middle. Long count from the Raiders. They give it to Anders, and he powers his way towards the first down marker. All depends, and it looks like they'll give him forward progress and the first down just inside the IVC 25-yard line. So we'll give Anders 3 more and another set of downs for QND, 1st and 10.
Ryan Beard that time on the tackle. 6'3", 185-pound senior. Anders unable to, get many yards after contact thanks to the sure tackle by Beard, but a big third down pickup for QND.
4.5 minutes ago, first quarter, no score. Raiders inside the IVC 25-yard line after stopping the Gray Ghosts on downs in QND territory. Out of the eye, McKay drops back, 3-step drop, fires the slant. He's got Barry Welper. Makes a head and shoulder fake, spins, runs over a man and scores.
Wow. What a play by Welper.
25-yard touchdown pass on, I guess, a skinny post, Kyle. Just a quick slant by Welper from the slot.
Yeah.
Inside, and McKay hit him in stride and touchdown QND.
Yeah, from the slot position, just really on a seam route. Welper threw his hand up right away. McKay hit him in stride. What a move there off the first defender. I didn't catch the number, but Welper able to dodge around the first would-be tackler, runs over a second around the 2-yard line, and gets into the end zone. So what a play by Welper. QND on the board.
Ben Nord with the extra point, and it's good for QND. 4:20 left to go first quarter. Raiders draw first blood. 7-0 Raiders lead. Back in 30 seconds here on WTAD.
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Libman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls, even with the internet and email. I feel it's important to really get to know you and your family's needs. Otherwise, how will I know what direction you need to take? Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Libman. He makes house calls. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, New York, New York, 10166.
Leads Chillicothe the IVC 7-0. 4:20 left to go first quarter. Tim Kinship and Kyle Vanderlo with you from QND Field. Raiders with a big stop defensively on 4th down and then go 63 yards the other way, Kyle. Get a 25-yard pass completion from Joe McKay to Barry Welper for the touchdown.
Well, I think you're really seeing QND's going to have to mix it up a little bit tonight. They come out, and they have so far, both in power I and some different shotgun looks. IVC, save for that one long run on the counter by Anders, really seems like they're geared up to stop this run. I mean, they seem like they've kind of got this run game of QND figured out a little bit anyway. You see mostly, 2 and 3 yard runs so far for QND. So I imagine Joe McKay will have to get on his horse a little bit, do some rollouts, and try to get the ball to Welper and Chappell throughout the night.
Just to amplify your point, Raiders have a 2, a 4, a 2, a 3, a 3, a 3, and a 28-yard carry.
Sure.
But then 2 pass completions, 1 of 12 and 1 of 25 for the touchdown. So Joe McKay, 2 of 4 for 37 yards and the touchdown, and the Raiders with 45 yards rushing. Zeke Little puts the ball back in play, and it's a line drive up the middle of the field that bounces, and then is bobbled and having to go back into the end zone, but because it's basically a muff, the ball goes in the end zone off Natzel's hands, and it'll be an automatic touchback. And IVC will take over at their own 21st and 10, which is very good news for Kelly Natzel.
Yeah, it is. That would not have gone real well at the next level. He would have been scrambling to pick that ball up a couple yards deep in the end zone and itching to get to the 10-yard line.
And IVC really showed something on their first drive, Kyle. They mixed it up. They had 40 yards after 4 plays, got it inside the Raider 40 to about the 33. And then on 2 straight plays, the Raider defense rose up, stopped IVC, went the other way and scored. And now IVC comes out in a single back pistol set with receivers split to both sides. Gould turns, and he hands it to the first running back. Somebody's lost their golden dome. They will have to come out of the game, and the Raiders stuffed the running back. I believe it was Strable that time. It was Blake Strable who picked up 1. It'll be 2nd and 9 for QND, and it was Jake Ballkamp who lost his hat.
And it was Jake Ballkamp that made the hit there, too, as well on Strable. A real nice sit there by Ballkamp. Get an idea for how big and strong Strable is, knocking the hat off Ballkamp.
So 2nd and 9 for IVC from their own 21-yard line. Why would you change offensive formations, Kyle?
I thought the same thing. I thought they looked pretty good on that first drive.
Talking about IVC, they have the pistol with the single back Strable, and he fakes. Now the fire the pass over the middle, incomplete, trying to hit their tight end, Mitch McIntyre. That seam route was open, but Gould, the quarterback, Noah Gould, overshot McIntyre, incomplete, and it'll be 3rd and 9 for IVC.
Yeah, QND kind of selling out in that on that play action, and why not? They've certainly have gone to that run several times tonight. Just a little bit overthrown. You can count on IVC trying to come back to that play some point later tonight.
Basically similar to the play that Illini West hit for a 55-yard touchdown on 4th down last week. So here's Noah Gould in the pistol again on 3rd and 9 from their own 21 for IVC. QND leads at 7-0. They fake to Strable. They set up a screen to Strable. He catches the far side, turns, goes upfield, gets hit by Tyler Marcus, but bounces off the hit, and it will be a 1st down as Strable running hard. Finally is pushed out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. So that's a pickup of 13 on the screen pass, and you were waving your arm. Did you see a hold?
Yeah, Luke Friedman was very much being held there. He had it kind of snuffed out. A lineman was on him the whole time. I didn't catch the number of the Grey Ghost lineman, but really had a handful of jersey, and Friedman unable to break free. Was in position there, had it snuffed out, recognized the screen, but unable to get off the block.
Actually, from where they marked Strable out of bounds, is a pickup of 14. And it will be 1st and 10 IVC from their own 35-yard line. And Gould's throwing the ball a lot better this year than I remember him throwing it last year for IVC. Now they go back to that diamond formation in the backfield on 1st and 10 from their own 35. Turn, give it to Strable. And he will bounce it around the corner and only pick up about 2 to about the 37-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 8 for IVC, and Strable has carried the ball 6 times, Kyle, and Kelly Natzel's only carried it twice.
Yeah, I think the game plan's about one word, Strable, for IVC offensively. I was surprised to see him jump out of that diamond formation there. Now they're back in it. QND unable to make him pay when, putting him in a 3rd and 9, unable to make the stop. So.
Right. Yeah, QND needed to get out of that drive right there and force a 3 and out, and after scoring the previous possession, they would have had all kinds of momentum, but now IVC can do something with it. They go to the 2-back set out of the pistol, and a single receiver near side. They give it to Strable again. He fumbles it. It's loose, and did Strable beat the QND defenders to it? Waiting. Yes, they do. Strable was able to get on that ball before 2 QND defenders could, so good hustle by Strable, but the Grey Ghosts lose 7 on the play back to the 30-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 15 for IVC.
Yeah, nice job by Strable, and that was a real big one, obviously just recovering the fumble, but Jordan Chappell was one of the Raiders that snuffed it out, most likely looking to scoop and score that fumble, from only 25 yards in, 30 yards in. So Strable saves the possession and probably saved a touchdown for the Grey Ghosts.
Out of the pistol, they split Natzel out to the near side, 2 receivers near side. With a sidecar right is Strable, and they roll out right side. Gould looking. Now fires the out pattern, and it's complete to Natzel at the 40-yard line, but that's 5 yards short of the 1st down. So a pickup of about 10, but still 5 yards short. It'll be 4th and 5 for IVC. Gould looks a lot more comfortable this year than he did last year.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't try to almost do more of it. You probably see him maybe loosen up a little bit tonight, the play calling, and get a little more aggressive with the play calling if he's going to throw the ball with that much confidence. That time rolling to his right, really looked comfortable, took his time back in that pocket, waited for Netzel to get behind the Raider defensive back. Netzel then runs the out, and he puts it on the money. Just, put yourself in a 3rd and 15 and makes those plays a lot tougher.
So a 10-yard gain, but it's still 4th and 5 for IVC. Kelly Natzel is the punter. And it's a rugby punt. Actually, it's Rashid who punts it away, and Chappell runs onto it at about his own 23-yard line. Stutters, makes one man miss, but can't make the second man miss, and it's tackled at about the 32-yard line. So a return of about 9 yards. Raiders take over in decent field position. QND leads 7-0. 90 seconds left 1st quarter. QND moving from right to left, by the way. So the Raiders go 63 yards on their last possession and score a touchdown on a 25-yard touchdown pass from Joe McKay to Barry Welper. See what the Raiders have in mind here with this set of downs.
Looks like they're going with the power set as far as I can tell from the personnel that's in there right now.
Jordan Chappell leaves the field. Jordan Obert will be split to the near side, and it is indeed the power I. Kinsel and Ginnebacher, the up backs. Anders the deep back. Joe McKay gets under his center, Jimmy Case. 1st and 10 QND from their own 32. Kinsel goes in motion towards the far sideline. Turn, run the counter to Anders. Oh, he makes the second man miss and takes off. He's got 15-20 inside IVC territory, tackled at the 42-yard line. Blink of an eye run by Dalen Anders, and he gets from the Raider 32 to the IVC 41. Quick math tells me that's another 27-yard gain for Dalen Anders.
But he, again, still looking terrific off that counter. He's just showing such explosiveness off that counter play, off that backfield foot when he decides he sees that hole, putting off that time planting off his left foot to get upfield. Just taking right off.
First and 10 QND from the IVC 41. Give it to Parker Kinsel. He bounces off a hit and picks up 4 yards. He got stuck pretty good.
He did.
And now a late flag flies in as somebody from QND said something you're not supposed to say. Unsportsmanlike conduct on QND. And that was about, 3 seconds after the play was over.
Yeah, and I didn't see all I saw was Strabel ended up jogging off the field with his helmet off. I did not see why it was off or how it got off.
But that was the referee emphatically throwing a flag and calling unsportsmanlike conduct on QND. It was a pickup of about 4 for Parker Kinsel, but then a dead ball unsportsmanlike conduct penalty on QND. So Kinsel picks up 4. Would have been 2nd and 6, but now it's going to be 2nd and 21 for QND, and the ball is going to be on their side of the 50-yard line.
And it looks like they're going to check into a different formation here as both Chappell and Welper in the game.
I could have sworn he said dead ball foul, so it should be 2nd down, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it looked like a dead ball foul to me.
Yeah, he's holding up 2 fingers now.
Okay.
2nd down. 2nd and about 21 for QND. Ball at the Raider 47.5-yard line. I formation receivers split to both sides. Joe McKay under center, Jimmy Case. McKay drops straight back to pass. It's a deep drop. Wanted to throw the screen one way. Comes back near side to Anders. Anders turns to corner. Horse collar tackle. And now the back judge throws the flag. As the 2 officials nearest the play don't throw the flag, but Anders got horse collared by the IVC defender. Out of bounds at the IVC 41. That's a pickup of about 12 on the play, and then they're calling face mask, but it's a horse collar on the IVC defender.
Yeah, it was Ryan Beard again that time, 6'3", 185-pound backer for the Grey Ghosts. We mentioned him on a nice tackle area on Kinsel. That time chasing down Anders from behind, was losing ground. Anders was going to beat him, but the horse collar tackle is a effective way to tackle, yet a 15-yard penalty when you do it.
And that's going to give the Raiders a 1st down. So CUNY gains 4 on a running play, but a 15-yard penalty backs them up to 2nd and 21. They gain 12 on a screen pass, but the 15-yard penalty will give them a 1st and 10 from the IVC 26-yard line or thereabouts.
It'll be interesting to see, QND's offensive play calling here for the rest of the year with this emergence of Dalen Anders and really being such a strong part of this offense here the last, call it 5 quarters. Chappell and Welper we've talked a lot about through the years. Joe McKay and Joe McKay's ability to get the ball to him, but if Anders is going to continue to be a consistent threat, you might see him go more to this I formation. You can have all 3 of them on the field at the same time. It's a little bit tougher to do in that power back set with 3 backs, and it's a little bit tougher to do in the shotgun. It's harder to use Anders as much. 1st
and 10 from the IVC 26 for QND, leading 7-0 are the Raiders. The I formation, receivers split to both sides. Long count, give it to Anders, and he slips 1 tackle and then is tackled by backside pursuit by, I believe, Kyle Fouts. After a short gain of 2, maybe 3, inside the IVC 25, we'll give him the 23, a gain of 3. It'll be 2nd and 7 QND, and this will probably be the final play of the 1st quarter. See what the Raiders want to do here. Have a lot of options inside the IVC 25-yard line. Having the ball at the 23, and they go spread. 2-by-2 the receivers. Ball near the near hash. Anders is sidecar right. McKay takes the snap. Looking near side the whole way. Fires, and it's through the hands of Brady Ginnebacher, incomplete. And that's a tough catch, Kyle, because Ryan Beard was in his way and flashed at the ball, missed it. I would imagine that distracted Ginnebacher enough that he couldn't bring that pass in.
Yeah, I think so. Chase Dietrich in there as well for the Grey Ghosts, and I think it might have caught Ginnebacher a little bit by surprise that was even thrown. It ended up being on the money, but splitting 2 defenders, I don't think Ginnebacher was probably expecting the ball, and when it did come, it certainly got there in a hurry.
Raiders go empty. Anders joins the 3 receivers to the far side, so it's 3-by-2 the receivers on 3rd and 7 for QND. McKay pump fakes, now fires the near side, and it's caught by Chappell inside the 5 at about the 3-yard line. And what a throw there by Joe McKay. Does that look like a timing route, Kyle? And he put some mustard on that pass, talking about Joe McKay.
Oh, he did. You're right. Anders did the kind of a fake bubble to the right-hand side. McKay gave him a shoulder fake, then came back to his left, put it on Chappell. Right as he's hit, Kelly Netzel puts his helmet right on Chappell's chest and takes him down, but nice pitch and catch from McKay to Chappell.
First and goal, Raiders. They put the ball just barely inside the IVC 5-yard line with 5 seconds left to go in the quarter. Give it to Anders. He bounced it to the outside. Jersey tackle, but he's able to run forward, and he'll get about a yard to about, well, we'll give him 2 to the 3-yard line on the final play of the first quarter. After 12 minutes, QND leads Chillicothe IVC 7-0, but the Raiders have second and goal from just outside the IVC 2-yard line. We'll come back in 1 minute. This is Raider football on WTAD.
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Libman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls, even with the internet and email. I feel it's important to really get to know you and your family's needs. Otherwise, how will I know what direction you need to take? Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Libman. He makes house calls. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, New York, New York, 10166.
For the way you look at me, O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore. And love was made for me and you.
Kevin Payne, our producer on this Friday evening. Raiders with the second and goal. See if they can punch it into the end zone and expand their lead here, but things not coming as easily for QND this Friday night as opposed to 1 week ago, and all credit to IVC for that. But let's see if the Raiders can up their lead. Now the Raiders are forced to call a timeout here at the end of the quarter.
We got too many guys on the field.
Everybody wants to get in on a scoring play. So the Raiders used their first timeout. We'll keep it right here. Raiders leading 7-0. And Kyle, it seems like between the tackles this week so far after 12 minutes, not the success that QND had last week between the tackles, but Dalen Anders still getting work done. 70 yards so far on 7 carries. The poor guy's only averaging 10 yards a carry.
Right. Come on. He's already, he's on pace for another 28 carries, 7 carries there in the first quarter. So still getting a lot done. Some good drives there for QND. Just to your point, having to work on it a little bit more, which is a good thing.
See what the Raiders want to do here. I think you're right. I think they had the tight end Logan Schutte in, but they had at least 3 running backs on the field, and I think they might have had 4.
Well, I think they had
and
3,
credit
and
to Joe McKay.
Receivers.
Oh, okay. Credit to Joe McKay. As soon as they broke the huddle, Joe did the quick math and went, "Wait a minute, this isn't right," and called timeout.
We talk about trying to get Anders and Chappell and Welper on the field at the same time. That certainly is one way to go with the 12 men. It's an effective formation.
Every now and then you got to see if the officials can do math. So after the QND timeout, we still haven't played anything in the second quarter. QND leads 7-0, and see if we can get a playoff here in the second quarter. Raiders go I formation. 2 receivers split near side. Get him back to the fullback. McKay under center. He just rises and throws, and Chappell on a quick slant. Pass falls incomplete. And that's going to be third and goal for QND from basically the 2.5-yard line.
Well, I like the try there from QND. Obviously, they saw something in the way that IVC was defending the Twins formation. So tight end to the left, 2 receivers to the right. That time the slot receiver is being defended on his outside, so it kind of gives away the slant pattern a little bit to the inside. So that time McKay just takes 1 step back, tries to fire in the slant. Didn't work out, but I like the creative attempt nonetheless.
Jordan Over splits it to the near side. Power eye behind Joe McKay. Quick count. McKay's going to roll out under some pressure. Fires, and he hits the receiver for the touchdown, Brady Ginenbacher. So the Raiders went power eye, and you figure, okay, they're going to run the ball here, but they roll out Joe McKay, and he hits Brady Ginenbacher in the flat for the short 3-yard touchdown pass.
Yeah, and Greg O still not fooled by it. McKay still had guys in his face. I agree. You thought they might try to sell out on the run. McKay faked it, rolled to his right, still had 2 or 3 guys in his face. That time, Ginenbacher able to hold on through traffic, and Raiders back on the board.
Extra point attempt from Ben Nord. He had to wait for the snap to get down. Jordan Chappell does place the ball on the block, and it's a Extra point attempt made by Ben Nord, who's 2 for 2. Raiders lead at 14-0. We're 8 seconds into the second quarter. And
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Libman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls even with the internet and email. I feel it's important to really get to know you and your family's needs. Otherwise, how will I know what direction you need to take? Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Libman. He makes house calls. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, New York, New York, 10166.
Call, go to shotgun formation and let Joe McKay throw it 30-plus times, and you probably won't be able to go to the power back formation and let Dalen Anders run it 30 times. You probably got to have a little bit of both to win in November, and we might see them being that part of their reason for some of these different play calls tonight.
Joe McKay 5 out of 9 for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dalen Anders with 70 yards rushing, just to kind of, again, amplify your point. I'm here to help.
I appreciate it. I need it.
Raiders lead it 14-0. We played 8 seconds of the second quarter. And Zeke Little had the wind at his back, and it's freshening a bit. It's got to be at least 15, if not 20 miles an hour, dead out of the south. So find Kelly Natesel back to return this kick. I might want to stand a couple yards deep in the end zone for this one. Little approaches the ball, and he instead hits a helicopter shot that Natesel will pick up at his own 5-yard line on the bounce, straight up the middle of the field, Kelly Natesel. And he somehow kind of made himself small and eluded a couple of Raider defenders, but then is tackled at about the Grey Ghost 32. It'll be 1st and 10 IVC after about a 27-yard return by Kelly Natesel.
Pretty physical play there from IVC on that kickoff return. You're right, Natesel kind of started stutter stepping there around the 20-yard line, and looked like he might be able to break through there, but QND with a sure tackle didn't catch a number there on the far side.
So 1st and 10, Grey Ghosts, ball on the far hash at their own 32-yard line. And they will go to the wing tee with 2 other backs in the backfield. On 1st and 10, they give it to Strable. He gets 3, he gets 3. He wanted to lunge past that initial tackle, but somebody had him wrapped around the knees. Looks like Jordan Chappell. What's he doing in the middle of the line from his cornerback position?
Hey, he's a physical player. We saw some of that last week on 4th down against Illini West, making his presence known in the run game there again.
That was a very generous spot for Strable.
Yeah,
I didn't think he got the ball that far over the 35-yard line, but they gave him close to the 36.
That's the shortest 4-yard run I've seen.
2nd and a short 7, if you will, for IVC out of the wing tee. Gould takes the snap. He'll give it to Natesel on a sweep. Raiders snuff it out and knock him down for a 1-yard loss. Jeffrey Haley made Natesel cut it back inside when he didn't want to. Jimmy Case mopped up after Haley did a lot of the hard work to the outside. I say that kiddingly. Loss of 1 for Natesel. It'll be 3rd and about 8 for QND. And back to your point from earlier in the first quarter, Kyle, you want to put IVC in these 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 situations.
Yeah, you certainly do. And kudos for Jeff Haley for doing just that. Knew exactly what Strable wanted to go. Kind of beat him to the spot, forced him back inside. And that's where he knew all of his Raider teammates were going to be ganging up on him.
So 3rd and about 8 from the IBC 35-yard line. It's the pistol with only 1 setback. That's Blake Strable. 2 receivers split to the far side. Gould fakes to Strable, rolls out far side under some pressure. Now will fire, and it's behind the receiver, incomplete. Jake Volkamp got some late pressure on Gould. Pass was intended for Mitch McIntyre, but it was on his back hip, and it was incomplete. So the Raiders force a 3 and out, and the Raiders will get the ball back, leading 14-0.
You're right. Volkamp doing a nice job there. The reason Gould really had to make a sharp throw on that one because he couldn't get his shoulders turned because Volkamp was chasing him down. So Gould trying to throw the ball downfield was actually running the other way when he had to throw it because he had to try to elude Volkamp. So Case, then Volkamp making some nice plays, Haley, then Volkamp making some nice plays on 2nd and 3rd down to force this quick punt from the Ghosts.
Ben Rashid with the rugby punt. He gets a nice high end over end kick that Chappell takes at his own 29. Stutter step and then runs over a couple players and then a late spear. But they don't throw a flag. I guess he led with his shoulder, not with the crown of his helmet, but that was real close to being a late hit and a dangerous late hit by IVC. But Chappell has about a 7. Oh, my goodness. That is a terrible spot. They gave Chapel, what, 2 extra yards there, Kyle?
Yeah, that might have been a 2-yard penalty. He took one right in the back of the neck to your point.
Yeah.
Jeez, that didn't look like it hurt. He's okay. He's walking off just fine. But
They gave Chapel the 37 there, and he didn't come close to the 37. He may have gotten to the 36, but he didn't get close to where they spotted it. So Chapel, a beneficiary there. Raiders take over 1st and 10 from about their own 37, 38-yard line, leading 14-0. Power I. Joe McKay on 1st down will run the counter to Anders. He waits for his blocking and then runs into Blake Strable, and Anders loses that tussle. And it will be 2nd and about 8 for QND from right at the 40-yard line.
well, nice job there by the Grey Ghost, kind of adjusting a little bit to that counter action that we've seen a lot of so far. You know, kind of the key to stopping that counter is really getting aggressive with those, not just the linemen that are pulling, but even that side of the line of scrimmage and pushing those on that side to be the right guard and right tackle for QND, pushing those guys into the backfield so that the pulling linemen, you know, kind of run into them. You just create one big pile.
They have to make a bigger loop to try and get to their blocking
That's
assignment.
exactly right.
Raiders go spread, 2x2 the receivers, ball in the middle of the field, 2nd and 8 from the QND 40. Anders sidecar right. McKay takes the snap, looking left the whole way, fires, and he hits Chapel on a slant, and Chapel gets to about the 45-yard line for a pickup of 15 and a 1st down for QND.
A sharp-looking play right on stride there for QND. That time it was Ginnenbacher and Chapel on the left-hand side. Ginnenbacher runs a corner. Chapel comes in right behind him on a slant pattern, and right on the money. It's always it's a tough thing to do, and it's certainly underrated, but putting the ball in a position where that receiver doesn't have to slow down, just catches it right in stride can make a huge difference, and McKay did it there.
Out of the spread, QND 1st down and 10 from the IVC 45. Anders went in motion. McKay ran a quarterback draw right up the middle of the field with no hesitation and picked up 5 yards. That's basically your keep them honest play with your quarterback, Kyle.
Yeah, it is. They send Anders in motion, hoping that a linebacker either follows him in man coverage or, you know, just they overreact and think he's going to get a pitch or a screen pass of some sort. So Anders goes in motion to the right. They try to quick hitter up the middle and sets QND up with a 2nd and 5.
8.5 minutes to go first half. QND leads 14-0, has the ball at the Grey Ghost 41, 2nd and 5. McKay takes the snap, rises, fires, and L.B. Cornwell's wide open. He's inside the 20, down to about the 15-yard line.
Yep,
good
coverage.
Recognition by the Raiders.
Yeah. Blown coverage for the Ghosts. That time trips right. Cornwell by himself in the left, and he was all by himself. No one defending him there. So good recognition by McKay and L.B. Cornwell, and Cornwell making a nice job picking up the 1st down and much, much more for QND.
Pickup of 25. Put the ball down at the Grey Ghost 15, 1st and 10 Raiders. Already leading 14-0 our QND. Or is QND in this case. 3-by-1 to receivers, ball in the far hash. Sidecar left is Dalen Anders. And McKay takes the snap, fires, and the pass is dropped by Jordan Obert, anticipating the hit, which did come. And it looked like Chris Bryant was the first to hit Obert, and then the safety came over the top as well. So Obert and Traffic couldn't hang on. It's going to be 2nd and 10 QND from about the 15-yard line of IVC.
QND really going after that slant pattern tonight. They're really trying to get inside, and they are getting inside of the Grey Ghost defenders. The Ghosts are kind of giving them that inside, trying to take away the fade patterns or anything where they kind of lose track of them towards the boundary.
3-by-1 to receivers out of the spread. Anders sidecar left on 2nd and 10. They fake the give to Anders. McKay keeps it, and it looked like he was going to slip the jersey tackle, but able to recover was Ryan Beard and a couple of his Grey Ghost teammates, and they stopped McKay for about a 3-yard gain to about the 12-yard line. Now they mark it back to about the 13, so it's going to be 3rd and a long 7 for QND and a short game by Joe McKay. And he did the right thing there, Kyle, because if he gives the ball to Anders, Anders probably gets tackled for a 2-yard loss, so McKay just kept it himself and got positive yardage.
Yeah, it's all you certainly want to make sure the ball is secure. That's the number one priority there. So, not Ghost really had it clogged up really both ways. So,
4-down territory, I would imagine, here for QND. 3rd and about 7 from the Grey Ghost 12, 13-yard line. Out of the spread, McKay takes the snap, rolls to the right side. Anders in front. McKay pumps, now fires, and it's dropped. No room to work with for Barry Welper on the sideline. He was trying to keep his feet in bounds and catch the ball, and he couldn't get the ball caught, and then a penalty flag on QND for an illegal shift.
Yeah, they weren't quite set here. This trio of receivers to the right still kind of getting lined up as the ball was snapped, so Chapel might have picked a good one to drop it because wouldn't have counted.
Raiders were anticipating the penalty being declined, so they sent the field goal unit on, and now the penalty is declined by IVC.
Looks like Nord trots out.
So the Raiders will try a field goal here, and this will be about, what, a 30-yard attempt.
Should say Nord trots in, I should say, and McCade trots out.
Chappell will hold. Brady Ginnenbacher will snap it. Chappell kneels right at the 20-yard line. So it'll be a 30-yard attempt. Snap back, ball down. Nord's kick is up, and it looks good. And it is. Ben Nord with a beautiful 30-yard field goal. And it looked like he really punched that ball. He didn't get full stride into it. He just kind of tried to place the ball and did a very good job of a 30-yard kick there.
Well, he's looked good on all 3 kicks he's had tonight. Both extra points, big, high, long, beautiful kicks. That time the field goal looks like it was just no problem for him at all. So Nord doing a nice job, where QND did struggle a little bit last week, missed a few extra points.
You're part of the kickers union. You can't be saying things like that.
Oh, I've missed plenty of extra points. That if I had only missed 3 extra, that'd be like a career night for me. But for these guys that are much better, that was an off night.
By the way, you wanted to point out all this talk about Anders getting 300 yards last week when Dominic Tamborelli broke the school record. He had the West Hancock, or back then Hamilton team, really focused on the quarterback.
Well, it wasn't necessarily that they were focused on the quarterback. It was just Tamborelli did receive a number of excellent handoffs that night on his way to 320-some yards. So it was just worth pointing out. That's all I was saying.
And number 17 sometimes could get it done at the quarterback position for QND.
Right on the money.
I could bring up a couple of games, but
actually,
I don't want folks here to headset hit the counter and then you walking out the door.
Well, there was one on the money that game to a Hamilton defensive back that took it back for a touchdown. So I had 2 touchdown passes that night. One was the Hamilton, unfortunately.
I repressed that memory. Thank you for bringing it back up. QND leads 17-0. 7:21 left to go in the first half. Zeke Little will get the ball restarted. And again, it's a helicopter kick that will bounce away from Natesel, and he bobbles it, but picks up on his own 5 and heads directly for the far sideline and has running room. Turns the corner, but no real estate to get past the 30-yard line. Looks like they have him marked out at about the 26. So Natesel with a full head of steam just didn't have enough real estate to try and square his shoulders around the corner. Ran out of bounds. It'll be 1st and 10 Gray Ghosts, trailing now 17-0 to QND.
And they're certainly, if they weren't already kind of in danger zone right now, you do not want this game to get worse off here if you're the Ghosts. You're certainly a run first, run second football team, and being behind 3 scores is not your strength.
Gray Ghosts take over at their own 26, 1st and 10. Their best drive of the game was their first possession, but that ended on downs. QND took over and went 63 yards the other way for the first touchdown of the game. Now IVC having trouble getting their play called after a break in the action. But now they get set. 1st and 10, Chillicothe IVC from their own 26. They go to the pistol with 2 setbacks. 2 receivers near side. Gould takes the snap and will give it off to the running back, who gets to about the 30-yard line and no further. And that was Natesel. He picks up about 4. And it'll be 2nd and 6 for IVC. I really have to hesitate. I can't figure out these linesmen at all.
Oh, on the spotting.
Oh, my goodness. I don't think Natesel there got over the 30-yard line and put the
so
ball over the 30.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen Natesel as much around the outside tonight.
I agree.
It's really all between the tackles for the Ghosts.
Again, out of the pistol with Natesel and Strabel flanking Noah Gould, the quarterback. Gould takes the snap, gives it to Strabel, and he stood up by Jimmy Case, and then about 6 Raiders come to help, and Strabel gets knocked backwards after a loss of about a foot. He actually got to where Natesel got the previous play, only they didn't spot Natesel there.
Yeah, nice Case, the first guy to get him, stood him up, and before it was over, had 7 or 8 gold helmets helping to bring down Strabel, so good pursuit there from QND. And after the 2nd and 5, running for no gain to put the Ghosts back in what looked like they're going to stay ahead of the chains. Now they're kind of back behind them thanks to Jimmy Case and the good pursuit on the 2nd down play.
But still, IVC has about a 3rd and 6 from just over their own 30-yard line. Gould, Strabel, and Natesel talk over where they want to go on this possession, or on this play, I should say. 2 receivers split near side, pistol with the 2 setbacks. And the Raiders show blitz, and they fake. Gould still has it. Looking to set up the screen again, and it's over the head of Strabel, incomplete. Tyler Marcus kind of gotten away a little bit, but still Gould was, I think, had a case of the happy feet there and threw it a little too soon.
Yeah, you know, on that screen pass, you do certainly, as a quarterback, you get good depth, you get it real quick, you try to keep those defensive linemen kind of after you. That time, Gould kind of stopped, and it looked like he might have wanted to keep his back pedal going for another 2 or 3 yards, because as it ended up, Marcus was able to get in his face because he didn't get enough depth.
Ben Rashid will kick it away for IVC. He has no personal protector, as Rashid likes to go with the rugby style. He goes to the far sideline, he just takes off with it. And he will be close to the first down. I think he's got it. Rashid just kept the ball. Oh, it's Rashid. Regardless, he just ran with the ball out of punt formation, and on 4th and 6, he picks up 7, keeps the drive alive for the IVC Grey Ghosts.
Well, a nice run there. You know, it's kind of a heads-up play. That's the benefit of running the rugby-style punt. I'd be okay if they got rid of that style of punt. Well, that thing drives me nuts. It's a good play. I get it. You know,
right.
Certainly the player did nothing wrong. He's just doing a nice job trying to make a play.
To me, whenever I watch it, basically in Division I college football, it really puts the guy rushing the punter at a disadvantage, because if he gets too close and tries to tackle the punter, then it's roughing the punter. They give it to Natezel, and he's tackled behind the line of scrimmage, and Jeffrey Haley again for a tackle for loss, and he had help as well. Someone really late getting up, and it was Matt Harbath, who had the bad ankle a couple weeks ago, and he's fighting like heck to stay on the field, trying to walk it off, but it's Haley and Horvath, the H brothers, knocking down Nates for a loss of 3 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd and 13 for IVC.
Well, Case having himself a nice night. Haley having himself a nice night as well, and that front group for QND really causing some havoc in that ghost backfield.
2nd and 13 for IVC from their own 34. Give it to Natezel. He turns the corner and gets to the 40 and beyond, gets to about the 42. Natezel picks up about 7, but it'll still be 3rd and about 7 for IVC.
Trying to catch Horvath there. Looks like he did get him. Horvath still kind of gingerly walking back to the line of scrimmage here. I don't know if the QND coaches haven't noticed yet. Might be worth checking him out just because he's not quite at full speed up there with that, looks like a bad ankle.
4:10 left to go, first half. QND leads 17-0. IVC has a 3rd and a long 5 from their own 42-yard line. They give it to Natezel going around the far corner. Cuts it back and will be tackled close to the first down, but just short, I believe. Natezel made it to the 46, but he needed the 47. Let's see where they spot the ball. Oh, they spotted him about 2 yards further back than I thought.
Right, I agree. I thought he would have got to about the 45 and a half.
I thought he was over the 45 anyway.
Yeah.
And they marked him at the 44, so a gain of about 3, but it's 4th and about 3, and now Rashid lines up again in punt formation.
This probably takes it from a normal play into a punt formation anyway.
Timeout called by whom? Called by Notre Dame. That's their second timeout, the Raiders' second timeout here in this first half. QND leading 17-0.
Yeah, Coach Knell probably just wants to talk over this, punt formation, not just because the Ghosts just got it, but this is now a perfect situation to run the ball again here with short yardage. It's, it's not like it's 4th and 7 or 4th and 10. It's 4th and 4 here, so Rashid showing he certainly has the potential to turn it upfield and pick up 4 yards without too much problem if they lose contain.
Kyle, let's talk real quick here. 3:28 left to go, first half. QND up 17-0. IVC on their first 4 plays ran the ball and gained 40 yards. Since then, for the game now in the first half, IVC has carried it 18 times, and they have 58 yards rushing.
Wow.
So the last 14 carries.
18 yards.
So I guess that's called making adjustments.
Yeah.
Or lighting a fire under the defense, one or the other.
Well, it's a good point. We in the middle of calling Case's name and Haley's name as many times as we had here since, you do kind of lose track of how sharp they did look out of the gates there on their first 4 carries.
After the QND timeout, we'll see if the Grey Ghost punt it away or fake it again. Rashid back in punt formation. He's only about 7 yards deep. Takes the snap, and they snap it to the jet sweep man, and he will get the first down again. IVC bringing out all the fake punt stops here.
Yeah, they gave it to – I wasn't sure they were set ever. That time, IVC, they've been going with 3 receivers to one side, 2 on the other. That time the slot receiver starts going in motion like he's just going to line up on the other side. They snap it. He catches it with one hand.
And they're measuring this, and from where I'm standing, IVC got the first down by about a foot and a half.
Right, I agree. I think it was Bryce Cook.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It was a handoff on a jet sweep. He wasn't a very big young man running the ball there out on that formation. I thought I saw.
No, I've got the wrong. No, I had the wrong number there.
IVC does get the first down, so they faked the punt twice on this possession and gotten it both times to keep drives alive. Talking about IVC. They only needed 4 yards, and they picked up about, 4 yards and a foot. So, 1st and 10 IVC from their own 47-yard line. QND leads 17-0 with 3:20 left to go first half. QND has used 2 timeouts. IVC has all 3 of their timeouts left. On 1st and 10, the Gray Ghosts. Out of the pistol, Gould fakes, rolls to the far side. Backside pressure from Ballcamp, and Ballcamp has him wrapped up, and then Gould gets the ball away, incomplete. Good strength there by Noah Gould, who's not the biggest young man, but he was able to wrestle off Ballcamp and get the ball away to not lose yardage on the play.
Yeah, it's probably plenty of time in the half. It also stops the clock in case
Right.
time should become a factor. Ghosts do have 3 timeouts, as you referenced, but
Does Gould look 6 foot to you?
no.
He's listed in the program at 6 foot 160, and I think that's after a full meal on stilts.
He's got some long arms.
2nd and 10 IVC from their own 47-yard line. They give it to Natesel. He cuts it back up the middle of the field and gets 2. Not yet into QND territory.
Well, you don't think. You don't know for sure.
Well, yeah,
I
I got to put on the brakes here. Okay, that time they pretty much marked it where he went down. 2-yard gain for Natesel. He has 34 yards, does Kelly Natesel, on 8 carries. And it will be 3rd and about 8. The ball at the Gray Ghost 49-yard line. And it looks like IVC, well, they're going to get the play in, but they're not exactly rushing to do so. 2 receivers near side, single receiver far side, out of the pistol, sidecar right. IVC on 3rd and 8 from their own 49. Gould has it. Looking, fires the slant, and it's complete inside the Raider 45 to about the 43. And making the reception that time was Kyle Cox. And it's a first down for IVC on a gain of 8.
Nice patience showed there by Gould. QND in man-to-man coverage. Ginnenbacher was on the slot man Netzel there. Broke out when Netzel ran a swing pattern and left the slant pattern open, and Gould put it on the money.
Well, now they're measuring again. As they seem to decide the ball is at the 43, and I thought he got much further than that. They stretch out the chains, and it's going to be close. And he's short.
Yep.
It's 3rd and 8 on the scoreboard. IVC got 8 yards, and it's 4th and inches.
Yeah.
By the way, Gould is 3 out of 7 now passing for 32 yards.
I think he looks better than that. I mean, he throws it with a lot of confidence, really steps into it, has a pretty good toss, pretty good motion.
Yeah, he's throwing the ball with a lot more confidence this year than he did last year.
Velocity.
Yeah. Last year it was more hope and pray when the ball left his hand. This year he's got a sense of purpose. Yes, folks, Kyle and I both instructors at the Manning Passing Academy.
That's right. Guest hosts.
Here's a power look on 4th and inches with Gould under center. Turn, and they gave it to Strable, and he got the first down, but not by much, and another Raider lost his helmet. This time it's Luke Frieden.
Good contact there. Frieden really filling the hole right away, but unable to get a perfectly clean shot on Strable, so he falls forward, picks up the first. Time to come in a little bit of effect now. 2 minutes to go before halftime.
IVC gets the ball to start the second half, so they almost have a 2-for-1 here. 2:05 left to go first half. QND leads 17-0, but IVC, on the strength of 2 fake punts on this set of, on this possession, I should say, has the ball inside the Raider 45 at the 41. Gould looking to throw. Throws it quick out to McIntyre, who makes the catch, but is brought down immediately. Good one-on-one tackle by Brady Ginnenbacher.
Yeah, nice job there by Ginnenbacher. Recognized it from his linebacker position, and that time able to make the tackle before before McIntyre could really even get his shoulders squared up. Didn't really give McIntyre a chance to juke him because he was able to get out there quick enough and bring him down before he realized the defender was even on him.
2-by-2 the receivers. Sidecar left is Strable. On 2nd and 10, they marked that for no gain. Now Gould under all kinds of pressure, but he sidestepped both defenders in the backfield, but then got wrapped up as he got back to the line of scrimmage. Timeout IVC, and Gould was able to make something positive out of that as he eluded Horvath and eluded another Raider and picked up about 1.5 yards on the play to the Raider 40-yard line.
Yeah, Haley in there, I believe, as well, causing Gould to make something happen there before he wanted to. Just hardly even got all the way back into his drop back.
Right.
And had to take off. He wanted to roll to his left. Horvath didn't let him, neither did Haley, so he tried to cut it back up and not much doing. But instead of a 3rd and 17,
right.
3rd and 16, something like that, it is a much more doable 3rd and 9. So minute 25, the Raiders up 17-0. Minute 25 before halftime. And you got to imagine if there's anything deep in that IVC playbook, now's probably a good time to bring it out. Raiders in a similar position that they were last week defensively against Illini West, where they were in control of the ball game right before halftime. But if Illini West were able to get a touchdown there before halftime, turn around, get the ball back with the momentum to start the second half, it certainly could have made for a different ball game. So, and that time, Jordan Chappell in the QND defense made the stop. Let's see who can do it this time for the Raiders defensively.
3rd and 9 for IVC from the Raider 40-yard line. 1:25 left in the quarter, as Kyle mentioned. 17-0 QND leads. Gould in the spread. Takes the snap, looking right the whole way. Now comes back left, waits, fires deep, has a man open. Natesel hits him in stride for the touchdown. Natesel burns Brady Ginnembacher, and Chappell from the safety position couldn't get over the top. And a beautiful throw by Gould to hit Natesel in stride for the 40-yard touchdown.
At the time, Gould had plenty of time. QND's defensive front has really gotten after him. That time had a little bit more time to check things out downfield. Natesel with the good speed makes it happen, and Gould puts it on the money.
Beautiful throw and catch by IVC. And the Gray Ghosts are on the board. 17-6 our score with 1:19 left to go in the first half. And Rashid will try and tack on the extra point. Snap back is low. The ball down. Kick is up. And it looks good. And it is good. We'll take a 30-second timeout. Watch QND run the 2-minute drill when we come back. IVC on the board. QND leads 17-7 here on WTAD.
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Lippman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls, even with the internet and email. I feel it's important to really get to know you and your family's needs. Otherwise, how will I know what direction you need to take? Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Lippman. He makes house calls. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, New York, New York, 10166.
Drive, a 40-yard touchdown pass from Noah Gould to Kelly Natesel. But the drive kept alive by 2 fake punts. One, the punter ran out of the punt position, Ben Rashid. And then they ran a jet sweep out of the punt formation where the punter took the snap and handed it off to one of the gunners. And they picked up another first down. So,
well, I can say I've never seen 2 fake punts on one drive. That is a first for me.
It's been quite a while since I've seen anybody try 2 fake punts on the same possession, but you're right. They were good calls at good times for Chillicothe IVC, but boy, is that punt cover unit going to be having a fun week of practice next week. For QND, that is.
Sure.
Rashid will get things restarted here. QND moving from left to right here in the second quarter. Kick is high down the middle of the field. And Chappell takes it away from Parker Kinsel at the 10-yard line. Chappell right up the middle of the field, has a seam. Chappell at the 40. 45 has only Rashid to beat, and Rashid makes the tackle inside IVC territory at about the 48-yard line. So Chappell took the ball away from Kinsel and ran up the middle of the field for about 40 yards, and Rashid with a very nice form tackle to keep Chappell off the scoreboard that time.
Yeah, Chappell's the middle guy that the trio of deep guys for QND, so he's the captain there of that return group. Called it off, made the nice catch, and really liked the way he returned that there. Didn't jitterbug around at all, just really hit the middle real hard. We've seen QND have a return with Zach Bailey earlier this year on doing the same play right up the middle.
So the Raiders have a minute 10, leading 17-7 and only one timeout. Raiders barely get their wide receiver set on the far side. Now McKay fires a pass over the middle, caught by Barry Welper, immediately tackled by the IVC defender, Chris Bryant, but Welper picks up a first down as the Raiders take it from the 47 to the 34. That's a pickup of 13, and it's 1st and 10 QND with a minute to go, just over a minute to go in the second quarter.
Well, the 2-minute drill always becomes a little bit more interesting after a long kickoff return, so Chapel getting QND off to a good start, and then Welper on the slant pattern, putting QND in position quickly.
The spread, they throw a quick out to Jordan Chapel, catches it in stride, has Ginnebacher out in front. Chapel has plenty of running room, runs into Ginnebacher and goes out of bounds inside the 20 at about the 15-yard line. So at least a pickup of 23, and then depends on the spot if there's any more. That was too easy, Kyle. That was like stealing.
Well, it was. Riley Beard, the defender for the Ghosts, took a chance and whipped. He tried to go inside around his blocker there to try to knock down the pass, but McKay got rid of it quick enough, got it outside of Chapel, so Beard kind of took himself out of the play. So kind of that quick bubble screen type of look. Chapel gets down the sideline quickly, and QND knocking on the door to answer this Ghost touchdown.
Raiders have only used 15 seconds, and they've moved the ball 32 yards. McKay takes the snap out of the spread, fires as a man open. Chapel, good hands, catch, and a touchdown.
Nice catch.
47-yard drive on 3 plays, and the Raiders answer the Gray Ghost. Chapel with the long kickoff return. 3 plays later, a 15-yard touchdown pass from Joe McKay to Jordan Chapel. 3 touchdown passes in the half from McKay, and the Raiders strike quickly after the Gray Ghost touchdown.
Well, nice adjustment there by Chapel. Ball thrown a little bit kind of to his back hip to help avoid the safety. Threw his hips back, threw his hands back there to grab that, comes down with it, and what a performance over the last 50 seconds or so, or 30 seconds even, for Jordan Chapel.
Snap back, ball down, and Ben Nord's kick looks good from here, and it is. 51 seconds left first half. QND leads Chillicothe IVC 24-7. Back in 30 seconds on WTAD.
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Libman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls, even with the internet and email. I feel it's important to really get to know you and your family's needs. Otherwise, how will I know what direction you need to take? Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Libman. He makes house calls. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, New York, New York, 10166.
24-7, QND leads Chillicothe IVC with 51 seconds left to go first half. Every touchdown in this game has come through the air.
Yeah, McKay's looking terrific tonight. I mean, we saw the what the Raiders can do on the ground last week was kind of Dalen Andrews' week. This time McKay tossing the ball around like we thought he might against this Gray Ghost pass defense, which has been a little bit suspect at times. So McKay putting some points on the board through the air, and the Gray Ghost, typically a run first, run second type of team, but this time big pass to Kelly Netzel for their lone touchdown.
Joe McKay, 10 out of 16 for 161 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Noah Gould for IVC is 5 out of 9 for 71 yards and the 40-yard strike to Natesel. So the Raiders answer the IVC touchdown and do so in 27 seconds. 24-7 QND leads. Little's kick is much better this time. Hard kick that will bounce, and Natesel just lets it go into the end zone for the automatic touchback. So 1st and 10, IVC from their own 20. No time off the clock. 51 seconds left second quarter. IVC gets the ball to start the second half, so we'll see what their approach is here. And I would imagine they may run it here a couple times, and if they break a big one, they have 2 timeouts left, talking about IVC. They may take a timeout if they can break a big run and then try and be aggressive.
Sure.
But we'll wait and see what they want to do here. And it looks like they're going to be aggressive from the outset. They come out in the spread, 2-by-2 the receivers, ball in the middle of the field, sidecar right is Strabel. Gould takes the snap, fires the slant, and hits the receiver. That's Cox, and Cox has a first down to about the 32-yard line, and that was a easy, cheap 12 yards by IVC. And they'll move the change and stop the clock to do so.
Yeah, QND defensively here playing fairly soft, trying to give the Ghosts anything they probably want underneath.
Mm-hmm.
But Gould will take it. We've talked about Gould being a pretty capable quarterback.
2-by-1, actually 2-by-2 the receivers. Sidecar right out of the pistol. Gould waits for the snap from Dismont. Gould looks right this time. Fires the slant. It's picked off by Barry Welper. Welper sidesteps one man, brings it around the far corner. Has a block, cuts it to the outside, and he'll take it to the house. Barry Welper with a terrific run after the pick. And it's a touchdown for QND. A pick 6 for Barry Welper, who made a great break on the ball, took it away from the receiver, ran forward about 5 yards, saw the traffic and went, hey, I'm going to go to the other side of the field. Got one block and was able to get it to the house.
Yeah, nice instincts there by Welper. I think it was Blake Hilgenbrink with that last block to help him set free. Welper showing the athleticism, though, to get sideline to sideline. And what a turn of events here as QND puts 2 touchdowns on the board, answer real quickly after the Gray Ghost touchdown.
I'm going to say a 35-yard interception return, but we'll get official word at halftime. But the point after by Ben Nord is good. And we talked about IVC maybe running it a couple of times, then getting aggressive. They got aggressive from the outset, and it's a pick 6 for Barry Welper and a touchdown for QND to make it 31-7.
Well, man, it wasn't but 5 minutes a real time ago. We're sitting there talking about if the Gray Ghost can score and make it a little more interesting, coming right out of halftime, getting the ball back and being a 10-point game. Well, somewhat of a distant memory, thanks to Chappell and McKay. This time Barry Welper on the interception return.
And again, I think it was around 35 yards. It might have been a little bit farther than that, as the ball was snapped from the 30-yard line, actually the 32. And it was another slant pattern that IVC tried to run, and Welper just jumped the route, timed it perfectly, Kyle, and made the catch, taking it away from the receiver. And then just a terrific run after catch, and great ideas, great vision by Welper to make the cut that he did when he did.
Well, and it's a tough catch, too. I mean, it was a terrific, a good a run as it was. It was a tough catch. It was a ball right around his shins. Had to kind of fight the receiver for it. The receiver kind of had his hands on the ball, probably a little bit on Welper's arms, kind of swatting it at it, trying to get it from him. Welper holds on to it, and then able to break free. So showing off the hands, showing off the instincts, and kind of showing off the speed as he got around the Gray Ghost would-be tacklers.
And a good job by the rest of the Raider defense, Kyle, not to get a penalty called for blocking, a blocking infraction. A great block,
Sure.
And I didn't see who it was. I thought I saw a 7 on the QND player that made the final block that allowed. Okay, there you go. Thank you very much, sir. And another kick that Nason will just let get into the end zone for the automatic touchback, as that time Little kind of played cat and mouse with Nason and placed the ball to have it roll into the end zone instead of just going with the power kick, but same result. It's a touchback, 1st and 10 IVC from their own 20, and surely now IVC will just be real conservative and say, let's get to the half and prevent further damage here. And yeah, they're coming out, and it looks like they're going to set up in a rugby scrum here to end the half.
I'm guessing Strable will get himself another carry on this one.
Well, they are going to go to their 2-back pistol look with a wing. On 1st and 10 for IVC from their own 20, they give it to Natesel on a sweep. Natesel bounces it to the outside. He's got 5. He's got 10. And he gets knocked off his feet at about the 35-yard line as Chappell came up and hit Natesel. But Natesel picks up 15 plus. And they will spot the ball where? At the 36. So a 16-yard gain for Natesel and a first down for IVC. Natesel now with 50 yards on 9 carries. And they wind the clock with 17 seconds left to go in the first half, and QND leading 31-7. Out of the pistol with a wing to the far side. They run the same play. Natesel on a sweep, bounces it to the outside. He's got 5, he's got 10, and then he skips out of bounds with 5 seconds left. Now 4 seconds left in the half. Let's see where they spot Natesel out of bounds. Looks like they're going to mark him at the 45, which would be a gain of about 9. So it's 2nd and 1. And Natesel getting some cheap yardage here as the Raider defense is just saying, do what you want. We're just going to keep you in bounds.
Well, they're playing awfully soft there on these corner positions. I mean, the cornerbacks for QND in this situation are 10, 15 yards off the ball, so there's really no run support on the outside.
4 seconds left, 2nd and 1 IVC from their own 45. And the 3rd straight carry by Natesel on a sweep, and he gets the first down and gets out of bounds, but the clock goes to 0. So we'll give Natesel a gain of about 5, and that'll do it for the half. So Natesel on 3 carries picks up 30 yards. Certainly helps his average out. And IVC will go to the half, trailing QND by the score of 31-7. Raiders lead the Gray Ghosts 31-7 back in 3 minutes. This is Raider football on WTAD.
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Libman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls even with the internet and email. I feel it's important to really get to know you and your family's needs. Otherwise, how will I know what direction you need to take? Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Libman. He makes house calls. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, New York, New York, 10166.
L is for the way you look at me. O is for the only one I see. V is very, very extraordinary. E is even more than anyone that you adore. And love was made for me and you.
Sometimes leaving a job's been the best thing that's happened to him. He always gets a better job.
Yeah, and nobody can figure out how that happens.
I tell you.
So here we go with the second half, and QND leading 31-7, and Zeke Little will get things started here with the second half kickoff. QND moving from left to right as you look at your radial dial here in the third quarter. And away we go, and Little bangs one deep, and Natesel takes it at his own 1 yard line, right up the middle of the field. Kelly Natesel now bounces it to the outside, but now covers between the hash marks and takes it out to the 35-36. Very patient run by Natesel. Not a whole lot of east-west, just a lot of north-south, and about a 35-yard return for Natesel.
Well, nice job there by Natesel to get upfield there as quick as he could. It looked like it was going to be a touchback. Hats off to Parker Kensel on that one. Was the first guy down to get to Natesel. Natesel missed the tackle, but, man, he got just hammered around the 35-yard line or so. Got back up off the ground and was still the first guy to the ball carrier. So our favorite special teamer, Parker Kensel, showing up again on the kickoff team.
Mark it at the 37, 1st and 10. Gray Ghost, their own 37. They come out in the pistol. Raiders blitz up the middle. They give it to Strabel. No, Gould has it, and he gets hammered blind side, and the pass falls incomplete. And that was lucky, really, for IVC that either Horvath or Case didn't just grab that ball when it was hit him on the pass attempt, and Case is slapping himself in the helmet like, how did I drop that?
Well, I think it was Case that got him from behind, I think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. Should he blitzing off the left-hand side, Case coming from the middle off the right, and, man, just put a shot on goal that he never saw coming. The ball just kind of flung towards the ground, and Jimmy Case getting this Raiders defense going in the second half.
2nd and 10, IVC from their own 37-yard line. They go pistol with Strabel behind the quarterback, Gould. Single receiver, far side. Gould turns, gives it to Strabel. He runs one way, now cuts it back, and he'll get about 6. They'll bring up 3rd and about 4 for IVC as Strabel is cut down at the Raider 43, it appears. Well, we'll call it the 42. We'll give Strabel 5, brings up 3rd and 5.
Good tackle there by Luke Frieden and Brady Ginnenbacher. It looked like Strabel might be able to fall forward from there 3 yards or so if he was able to kind of break through that tackle like has a good knack for doing. But Frieden and Ginnenbacher bringing him right down to force a 3rd and 5.
3rd and 5 from the IVC 42. The Gray Ghosts have it. Gould will turn, fake, throws, and it's caught by the IVC receiver, and he's tackled inside Raider territory at about the 48, and it was Natesel who was split out wide that time and just ran almost a button hook there, Kyle, and picked up the first down yardage as it's a 10-yard gain from Gould to Natesel.
Yeah, that time Gould fakes to his right to Strabel. Linebacker on that side was Frieden. Went ahead and jumped up with the play-action fake, opened up the passing lane there to Natesel, and a nice hands catch Natesel for the first down.
In the pistol from the Raider 48, 1st and 10, Gray Ghosts give it to Strabel. And he sidesteps 3 men, now carries a man down to the Raider 32-yard line. Brady Ginnenbacher finally got enough momentum to knock Strabel down. That's a pickup of 16 for Strabel and another first down for the Gray Ghosts.
Well, showing a little bit of rhythm here. So, a nice pass from Gould for the 3rd down pickup for the first, and Strabel gets him going here again. And it looked like the Raiders' defense was kind of rocking to start the second half after that big hit by Jimmy Case, but 2 first downs in a row for the Gray Ghosts have them trying to get back into the ball game.
1st and 10, IVC from the Raider 32-yard line. Gray Ghosts trailing 31-7. Gould in the pistol, turns and quickly gives it to Strabel. Waits for traffic to clear, now squares his shoulders and gets about 7 to the Raider 25. Strabel 6'4", 210, and boy, when he gets his shoulders squared, he's a load to bring down.
Yeah, I imagine Strabel's playing days will continue next year. He just, got a real big frame, pretty good, not great speed, but good feet. Kind of shifty for a guy his size. So I imagine if he wants to, he can continue to play next year at the college level.
He's got that frame where he could add 30, 40 pounds and really not show it. Boy, it would be nice to be able to do that. Strabel set up behind Gould in the pistol on 2nd and 3 from the Raider 25-yard line. They fake the Strabel. Gould's going to throw, penalty flag down, and the pass is caught as the receiver took it away from Welper for a touchdown, but what's the penalty? Hold on IVC, the play is coming back.
Nice catch there by Netzel. Welper in good position to make that play. Went up and I think he thought he was going to intercept the ball, I believe.
He did, yeah.
And Netzel just went up a little bit higher and caught it before Welper could get his hands on it. So he just went up and got it at a higher point. But
that was basically Gould throwing a jump ball to the far corner of the end zone, and Netzel took it away from Welper for the touchdown, but holding call on IVC. And the official immediately signaled to the far sideline who the hold was on. So it wasn't a case of the IVC sideline stomping around saying, who did it, who did it? It was immediate that the officials let them know. So a 10-yard penalty from the spot will put the ball back at the Raider 38. So IVC now has 2nd and about 16. Second penalty of the game on IVC. Raiders have only one so far, Kyle, and I probably should not have said that. 31-7.
That was a big one.
31, yeah, that was huge. Takes away a touchdown. 31-7 QND leads. We played 2 minutes and 10 seconds of the second half. So IVC having a touchdown nullified, lines up in the pistol. Two receivers split far side, Strabel alone setback. Noah Gould takes the snap, turns, gives it to Strabel. He cuts up the middle of the field, sidesteps a couple, runs over another, and gets tackled at about the Raider 26-yard line. Pickup of about 11 for Blake Strabel.
Gary Ghost can have some fun on this offensive possession here. I mean, that was
are.
a highlight play on that play that ultimately didn't count by Netzel on the catch, and Strabel really finding some holes here and to start the second half.
3rd and a short 5 for IVC from the Raider 26-yard line. Noah Gould, the quarterback in the pistol, has Strabel behind. Receiver split to both sides. And they turn, quickly give it to Strabel, and he's wrapped up. Jimmy Case basically put him in a bear hug as soon as he took the handoff, talking about Strabel.
And I'm not sure what happened. The Gray Ghost, it almost looked like they weren't sure the snap count, or the snap came a little bit earlier. It seemed like not everyone was quite in sync, and some folks a little bit slow to get off the ball. So Strabel, not much chance on that one. And hat tip to the QND defensive front for blowing that play up early.
This is difficult for IVC because they're really too close to fake a punt, but it's 4th and 5, and they're trailing 31-7, so they have to do something here. I guess they'll just run a direct 4th down play here. And that's what they're going to line up and do.
Too long to try to kick a field goal when you're down 24.
So they're going to go out of the pistol. Sidecar right is Strabel this time. Gould takes, fakes. He rolls out, stands up, fires, and has his receiver for the first down. That's Ryan Beard. And Beard's knocked out of bounds at about the 12-yard line. That's a pickup of 14. And IVC keeps the drive alive. And that's 3 4th downs that IVC has converted to keep drives alive here tonight.
I'm surprised we're not seeing more of Gould on the move. I mean, I know QND burned him with the interception return for a touchdown, but I mean, trying to get him out of the pocket and trying to get him away from Jimmy Case and Jeff Haley and some of those guys in the interior, he can really, when he finds some room, he can really fire that ball downfield.
And what do we have? We have a clock stoppage, and why? Timeout QND. We'll take it with the Raiders. 8:14 left to go, third quarter. QND leads 31-7, but IVC on the move inside the Raider 15-yard line. We'll take a 30-second break. Raider football on WTAD.
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Libman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls, even with the internet and email. I feel it's important to really get to know you and your family's needs. Otherwise, how will I know what direction you need to take? Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Livman. He makes house calls. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, New York, New York, 10166.
To go third quarter. QND leads Chillicothe IVC 31-7, but QND has not touched the ball here in the second half. And IVC got a pretty good kick return by Kelly Natesel, but it's by hook and by crook to keep this drive alive for this entire third quarter. 8:14 left, so 3 minutes and 46 seconds of possession, but it's taken IVC seemingly 45 seconds of play to get all the way down the field.
Yeah, they've taken some shots. Again, Jimmy Case getting this drive off to a good start when he hit Gold right as he was trying to throw it, but IVC got through that. They got a fourth down pickup on a pass from Gold.
Now they hit Beard for a first down pickup to keep the drive alive on fourth down. So here we go after the QND timeout. It's 1st and 10 IVC from the Raider 13. Gould in the pistol. Fakes to Strable. Now stands up, fires, and the pass was behind his receiver, incomplete, and through a couple of Raider hands.
McIntyre was the intended receiver on that kind of a slant pattern. They faked it inside to Strable. Quick pass to McIntyre, and I don't think McIntyre was even looking for it yet.
Yeah, I think that pass surprised everybody who was in the end zone, whether they were wearing blue and gold or maroon and white.
It was behind McIntyre, and really IVC was catching a break on that one. If the Raiders had been in a zone defense there, that might have been right to him as it was. Chappell was covering McIntyre on that slant and was running alongside with him, so it was well behind him too.
2nd and 10 for IVC from the Raider 13-yard line. Out of the pistol, sidecar left to Strable. And they fake the Strable, and Gould rolls out. He fires. It's complete, but Ginnebacher makes the immediate tackle on the receiver, Beard. And it's a short pickup of about 2. Let's see where they spot it. Boy, if they give him the 10-yard line, that's incredibly generous. And they do.
Well, I think a nice job by Ginnebacher to chase him down. As he tackled him, he landed on Brady Ginnebacher and kind of fell to the 10. So I'm not sure his knees were actually down or body was down until he got to the 10 because he landed on Ginnebacher on the initial tackle.
So only a gain of 3. And it brings up 3rd and 7 from the Raider 10. Ball on the near hash. Out of the pistol, sidecar right is Strable. 2-by-2 the receivers. Raiders blitz up the middle. Gould still has it, sets up the screen, and he's able to lob it to Strable, who cannot. Holding on for dear life was Logan Schutte by the jersey. And Schutte did a good enough job, even with the bad elbow, to wrestle Strable to the ground at the 6. A great play call, but Logan Schutte was kind of the lone Raider there, and he got enough of Strable to nullify a touchdown and make IVC go for it on fourth down again. Yeah,
terrific job there by Logan Schutte. You rarely see a guy, a defender, hold on to a jersey for that long with getting no help, but that's how good the play call was. That's how well it was set up. There was no other defensive lineman or anyone else that recognized it for the Raiders.
IVC's bringing out their kicker, but let's see if they actually kick it. They marked the ball down at the 7, so this is going to be about, wow, they're going with a short snap too. Ball's at the 7, the holder's at the 13. So this is a 23-yard kick for Ben Rashid. Snap back ball down, the kick is up, and I guess it's good, but it looks wide right, but it's good. So IVC uses up basically what the clock's still running. The clock is still running. There we go, we stopped it. It was at 6:14, now it's at 6:10. 31-10, QND leads IVC. So IVC uses basically half the quarter there, Kyle, to drive 2/3 of the field and get points.
Yeah, you're right. We talked about it before. Being behind, probably Mr. Obvious here. You obviously never want to get behind, but especially when you're a run-first ball club like IVC, you like the long drives. You like to play physical football. Scoring quickly isn't your thing. So probably further evidence there of that drive. Everything you want to see if you're a Gregos fan on that drive, what typically, good long runs, run some clock down, things like that. But when you're down several scores, it isn't exactly how you want to see yourself score touchdowns.
So 31-10, QND leads Chillicothe IVC with 6:10 left to go in the third quarter. And the Raiders will get their hands on the ball for the first time here in the second half. And QND moving from right to left here in this third quarter, or into the wind if you prefer that description.
Kind of died down a little bit.
It's gusting now. It's not as steady a wind as it was at the start of the game, but pleasant night for football.
Yeah, it is. I tell you, compared to what it looked like it was going to be. Earlier it felt like a week 1 type ball game as hot as it was.
Isn't humidity a wonderful thing? Oof. And we have some people here in the prelim game, which QND won, by the way, 21-14. There was somebody here with a hooded sweatshirt on. There was somebody here with a black.
Was it a wrestler?
There was somebody here with a black polo with jeans on. I guess some folks wanted to lose some water weight when they came to the field today. And they were getting it done, I would think.
This is sandal leather.
There's plenty of folks with flip-flops on, that's for sure. Ben Rashid has it on a tee at the 40-yard line. And he gets the kick away and just punches it down the field. And Chappell will take it on the run at his own 17-yard line. Runs into his own blockers, now backs it up, and has Welper trying to throw a lead block. And Chappell is able to turn the corner and get it to the 35. And that was such a high kick by, oh, look at this spot. That's terrible. They gave Chappell another extra yard at least on this. Marked him at the 38.
That's
so the Raiders take over 1st and 10. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, a nice high kick. Chappell caught it like almost in a full sprint. That time they tried to set up the middle wedge return, but not all the Raiders were able to get back in time just because Chappell caught it and ran with such authority right from the get-go.
Raiders go spread. 3-by-1 the receivers. Sidecar right is Dalen Anders. On 1st and 10, QND's first second-half play from scrimmage. McKay takes the snap. Pump fake. Throws the slant. It's complete and then dropped by Jordan Chappell. And he got stuck at the end of that play by the safety. And who else but Kelly Natesel. And Natesel gets up a little gingerly, but he will go back to the defensive huddle, and Chappell will come off the field. Chappell had it in his fingertips, couldn't make the grab, and then got blasted by Natesel.
Yeah, he walks off under his own power. It does look like he might have got the wind knocked out of him.
Talking about Chappell.
Yeah, talking about Chappell. That time, Ghost coming out and playing the man-to-man coverage there. Nice throw by Joe McKay. Just Chappell unable to hold on.
Same formation, 3-by-1. They give it to Anders. And Anders almost had the ball stripped, but he gets about 6 yards, actually 5 yards for Dalen Anders to about the 42 of QND. And it's a much more manageable 3rd and 5 here for the Raiders.
You'd like to see QND pick up this first down.
Oh, yeah, you would.
Yeah, I mean, just for no other reason to keep this Ghost offense just out of rhythm.
QND has only run 2 plays here in the second half. So 3rd and 5 Raiders from their own 42-yard line, leading 31-10. Raiders will go I formation, receiver split to both sides. Welper split far side, Jordan over near side. Ball in the near hash, quick count, McKay takes and rolls out. He'll fire it out to Ginnebacher, who's wide open in the flat. He'll head the first down, and Moore gets a block. He's at the 40, 35, 30. Cuts inside his shooty block and will be tackled from behind by Ryan Beard inside the Gray Ghost 15. But we got laundry on the field.
Yeah, I think they're going to get a clip call. Coming back to block for Ginnebacher, and looked like one of the Raiders got a block in the back, and it's going to come all the way back. Flag down about midfield.
There's a flag down at the IVC 46, and there's a flag down at the QND 47. Let's see where they walk it off from. It's going to be 3rd down for QND. It's just a matter of distance. And it looks like they're going to mark it off from the Gray Ghost 46. So that will mean it'll be 3rd and about 3.
It looked like the right call, and it probably didn't need to take place. I mean, really, it was only Ginnebacher almost on that side of the field and a couple QND blockers, and but got the one defender over there square in the back, and tough call to miss. That was probably a pretty easy one for the refs.
I was laughing because the official who marked off the penalty went too far, and the referee's like, no. See where he's standing? Go back a couple yards. So it turns out to be a 3-yard gain, but the down does not count. So it's 3rd and about 2.5 for QND from their own 46. 3rd and about 2, actually, from the Raider 46. And now the Raiders are doing what? Well, they haven't put the ball in play yet, so the Raiders don't have to burn a timeout. Looks like the coaches were going to burn a timeout, but then somebody noticed the clock hasn't started as they're explaining the math to the IVC sideline. Because IVC's like, wait a minute, how did they gain 4 yards on a penalty? But it's a spot foul. So that bailed the Raiders out of a potential timeout situation. QND's already called one here. Out of the eye, 2 receivers split near side on 3rd and 2. McKay, quick count, pitches it to Anders. Anders cuts it inside, has the first down and more. Inside Gray Ghost territory. He's tackled from behind by Mr. Beard again. Ryan Beard has about what, Kyle? 5 tackles from behind tonight?
Yeah, he has. That time, no horse collar on that one. Nice lead block there from Brady Ginnenbacher, kicking one of the linebackers back to the outside. Welper coming back inside to get one of the other linebackers. So good-looking sweep play to the right-hand side for QND, and a nice first down to again, keep that Gray Ghost offense off the field for a little while and let just kind of take them out of some rhythm and hold on to the ball for a little bit here in the second half after that long initial drive.
Anders picks up 9, 1st and 10 Raiders from the IVC 45. Out of the I. Receiver split to both sides, ball in the near hash. Long count from Joe McKay. Turns, gives it to Anders. Burst of speed, he's got 5, he's got 10. And bounces it to the outside, leans his shoulder and gets 20 yards. Actually going to give him 21. And it's easy for us to tell up here, Kyle, but if Anders cuts that towards the middle of the field, I think he scores, but still picks up 21 on the play.
Yeah, nice job there from Anders. We've seen him. We haven't seen him get as many yards on the inside, between the guard play. We saw one there.
Right.
Nice job cutting it up, and you're right, kind of had a corner and a safety to beat. Wasn't sure exactly which way to go. Tried to get between them, but a nice tackle to save a touchdown from the Gray Ghost secondary.
We need to compliment Daly Anders. We'll do that after this play. I formation, receiver split to both sides. Ball in the near hash. 1st and 10 QND from the Gray Ghost 24. McKay goes with a semi-count and gives it to the fullback. And Ginnenbacher will plow forward and pick up at least 2. And we'll give Brady Ginnenbacher 2 yards. I believe that was Mr. Ginnenbacher. Yes, it was. One thing that Dalen Anders has really done well here lately, Kyle, is when he makes a decision, he makes the decision.
Yeah.
He's not dancing. He's making decisions and cutting forward when he makes that decision. So it's not a matter of getting to the hole and shifting his feet around and then, hesitating. He's making a decision, making a cut, and going with it.
Sure.
2nd and about 8 for QND from the IVC 22. I formation, 2 receiver split far side. Joe McKay with a long count. Turns, gets it to Anders. Anders hesitates, now lowers his shoulder and gets thrown backwards inside the 20 to about the 19 or 18. It's going to bring up 3rd and about 4, maybe 5. 3rd and about 4, so we'll give Anders 4 on the play. But Anders has 111 yards, Kyle, on 12 carries.
It's a light week for him, comparatively speaking. You're right about his cuts and the way he's running the football. I think a lot of it comes with confidence. A lot of it comes with just repetitions, and feeling more comfortable with your group of blockers out there. But, man, he does seem a lot more sure of himself, and he's certainly fun to watch when he cuts it upfield.
Raiders fake the counter. McKay rolls out, now fires, has a man in the end zone. Touchdown, QND, Barry Welper. And, boy, the IVC defender is upset at himself as Welper got behind I don't know if it was the corner or the safety that time, but Welper beat him on a flag route, and McKay put it right over the defender into the hands of Welper for the touchdown from 20 yards out.
Well, that's the big, in play there when you get counter to Anders working so well. That time they fake it to Anders. McKay rolls to his left. Welper runs a post corner route. McKay puts it on the money, and big play for QND.
High snap, but Jordan Chappell able to get it down, and Ben Nord gets the extra point to go through. So the Raiders once again answer a Gray Ghost touchdown as it's a 19-yard connection from Joe McKay to Barry Welper. 4th touchdown pass of the game for Joe McKay. And QND leads at 38-10 with 3:03 left to go 3rd quarter. Back in 30 seconds, this is Raider football on WTAD.
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Libman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls, even with the internet and email. I feel it's important to really get to know you and your family's needs. Otherwise, how will I know what direction you need to take? Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Libman. He makes house calls. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, New York, New York, 10166.
3:03 left to go 3rd quarter. QND leads Chillicothe IVC 38-10. And the Raiders with 4 touchdown passes tonight from Joe McKay, and now Dalen Anders, I notice, is limping on a left ankle. He told me this week, Kyle, that he cramped up on that last long run he had before he had his final touchdown of the game. He said it was cramping up so bad on the touchdown run, he was glad he got in.
He was celebrating for different reasons.
And QND tonight, Kyle, has only run the ball 4, 7, 19 times and thrown it 19 times. So really, they're leading 38-10 talking about the Raiders, and they've only run 38 plays from scrimmage.
Wow, that is
a point per play is really good in high school football.
Yeah, that is excellent. Certainly nice return from Chapel. Helped him get one of those scores before halftime. Obviously, an interception return for a touchdown by Welper. But, so nice job mixing it up.
Zeke Little puts the ball back in play for QND with the wind at his back. And, boy, he kind of shanked one to the far side, but it will stay in play, be picked up by one of the up men for IVC, who returns it to about the 26, 27-yard line.
That was an odd roll. If you can get the ball to do that every time, that's about a perfect kick.
It is.
That was a knuckleball along the left sideline there for QND. It looks like it's definitely going out. Then it kind of veers back to its right between the numbers and the sideline. And that was a goofy one.
26-yard line is where they put the ball down for IVC. The Gray Ghost 26. And that's where they'll start this possession, trailing 38-10. But IVC looks like a much improved club compared to what we saw up at Chillicothe last year.
Absolutely. Night and day.
Yep. This pistol formation really looks good for the Gray Ghost. Noah Gould, the quarterback, has Strable behind, takes a snap, turns, gives it to Strable, and he runs through a tackle, turns the corner. He's got 10. He's got 15, 20, and he's gang tackled by a couple of Raiders, but it takes two of them to bring Blake Strable down. He's inside Raider territory. So about a 27-yard gain for Blake Strable, and I didn't see who missed the tackle for QND at the point of attack, but Strable took advantage to pick up 27.
Well, and just a hard runner. I mean, man, you've got to, you're not just going to kind of throw an arm at him and expect him to come down. He's going to run through. He's going to run through that tackle every time. You've really got to square him up. That time it's Logan Schutte ended up chasing him down, but he's certainly showing a lot more punch. This Ghost offense is in the second half.
27-yard gain, takes the ball into Raider territory at the 47, 1st and 10 Gray Ghosts. And they've kind of gone to Strable as a single back and split Natesel out to the far side here in the second half. Out of the pistol, Noah Gould takes the snap. Raiders blitz up the middle. Gould fakes, fires over the middle, and it's complete to Ryan Beard, who's knocked down by Chapel. And it's another first down for IVC inside the Raider 25 to the 24, and a pickup of 23. And Gould hits Beard for a 23-yard pickup.
Yep, Chapel, nice job from his safety position to bring down Beard. Kind of gets frozen for a second when they, go to that play action. It freezes the linebackers. Chapel from his safety position kind of freezes, and that time they hit Beard in the seam. I'm still been kind of waiting for him. I thought they might be doing it that time, but, try that fake and just trying to hit Netzel deep.
1st and 10, IVC. And they do run that play, Kyle, as they run Natesel on a corner route, and it's incomplete and a flag down. And that's a horrible call. That's defensive pass interference.
I agree.
That was just two guys who kind of stumbled through the end of a pass route, and their legs got tangled up. But there was no malicious intent by anybody down there, whether offensively or defensively. And they call interference on Barry Welper, and that's a horrible call.
Well, and part of the reason that they ended up running into each other was because the ball was so underthrown that time that Netzel stops, and it almost causes the two to run into each other. That was
an uncatchable pass.
Yeah, that was a bad one.
So they're gonna. I would imagine this will be half the distance to the goal. Well, actually, no. They marked off the full 15. Take it inside the Raider 10 to about the 9, and it's 1st and goal IVC. Only the second penalty on QND tonight. Actually, the 3rd. And to block in the back on a long pass play. 3 penalties for 40 yards on QND. 1st and goal IVC from the Raider 9. And boy, they do. It's Natesel and Welper on an island out there to the far sideline. Strable, the lone back, with Noah Gould, the quarterback, on 1st and goal. Gould takes and fakes, throws over the middle, incomplete. And that was more pass interference than the previous one. And now the back judge throws it. Brady Ginnebacher wrestling with Mitch McIntyre. And it's interference on back-to-back plays on QND's defense. This will be half the distance, and it'll be 1st and goal inside the Raider 5.
That time again on kind of a quick seam route. Ginnebacher looked like he had his left arm kind of on the hip of the would-be receiver. Excuse me, his right arm, and trying to knock it down with his left.
So back-to-back pass interference calls on QND is set up IVC with 1st and goal, and they'll walk this off. And they'll put the ball down at the 3-yard line. So a 5-yard penalty on QND. First and goal, IVC, from right about the 3-yard line. Noah Gould, the quarterback, has big Blake Strabel behind him in the pistol, and Natesel on an island to the far sideline. Gould takes, turns, gives to Strabel, and he cuts it inside and should lean forward and be into the end zone, and he is for the touchdown for Chillicothe IVC. Strabel now with 92 yards rushing on 17 carries. And it's a touchdown for IVC to make it 31-16. And they're going to go for 1.
Well, IVC certainly looking very sharp offensively here.
Yeah.
2 drives in a row. I mean, that really just pushing the Raiders around a little bit offensively for the Ghosts.
Rashid will attempt the extra point, snap back ball down, and he hit it fat, and he missed it right, did Ben Rashid. So the extra point is missed. QND leads with 2:01 left to go in this third quarter by the score of 38-16. And Kyle, I got to tell you, I'm really surprised at how effective IVC has been throwing the ball here tonight. I didn't think Noah Gould, based on what we saw last year, would be as effective throwing the ball all over the yard as he's been here tonight. And certainly, 2 pass interference calls, one that was dubious and the other that was legit, certainly helped IVC out there. But he just seems so much more comfortable in his own skin this year throwing the ball.
No, I agree. He does look real comfortable back there. They've got a nice attack as well in the ground game. And, if they can maybe shore up tackling a little bit on defense, I mean, I think this Gray Ghost ball club, depending on who they draw, obviously can certainly win a playoff game, though, in 4A this year. If they draw one of the top 5 teams in 4A, probably not, or one of the top 10 teams, probably not. But, I think they could certainly beat a lot of 4A playoff teams this year.
I get the distinct impression, and I'm not trying to demean anybody in the state, but this doesn't seem to be a real crackerjack year for high school football in Illinois. It seems like there's maybe 2 or 3 teams in each class that's really good, and everybody else is,
Could be. Yeah.
Breeze Mater Day lost last week to Breeze Central, 29-28, so the Knights are now 3-2 on the season.
Okay.
And they still have to play Jacksonville, and their Week 9 opponent's pretty good as well. So it just seems like there's a lot of teams right around 4-1, 3-2 this year, or 2-3, and you're not really sure how good they are. And then there's a lot of bad teams this year. Well, let's put it this way. Teams that are having down years.
Sure.
And then you got Alt Marquette, who's just in the worst conference known to man.
Well, we saw, our good friends from Macomb. I mean, they had one of their best years probably in 15 years last year and worked real hard for that, and then had a big loss and certainly did not have the same squad this year.
Ben Rashid trying to play keep away from Jordan Chappell, kicked it over to the far side, and Parker Kinsel picked it up on a bounce and ran forward with it, but only got about 5 or 6 yards. So IVC pins QND back inside the Raider 30 at about the 27. First and 10 QND. Raiders lead it 38-16 with basically 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter. See what the Raiders want to do here, Kyle, if they're going to continue to mix it up and be almost equally balanced throwing and running, or if they're going to go to some clock management, run the ball, and play keep away here.
I think some of it might depend on how much this ankle or hip is bothering Dalen Anders.
He's right back in the game, though. Raiders go I formation, receivers to both sides, and they run the counter to Anders. Makes the first man miss, and then somehow keeps his balance and turns the corner. He's got 5, he's got 10, and he's dragged down at about the 41-yard line. Anders did a great job of keeping his balance and then turning the corner with a full head of steam, and Dalen Anders takes it out to the Raider 42. That's a pickup of 15, actually closer to the 43. We'll give Anders 15 on the play, and it's first and 10 Raiders.
Nice tackle there by Chris Bryant as Anders cut to the outside there, switched the ball from his left hand to his right. I think it slowed him down a touch. Otherwise, I don't think Bryant was going to be able to get him. But it slowed him down just maybe a step to help Bryant close in.
First and 10 QND from their own 42. Out of the I, receiver split to both sides. Long count from Joe McKay. Turns, gives it to Anders. He gets knocked off his feet as he flies forward. Got across the 45 to about the 46 for a gain of 3, almost 4. It'll be second and 10. Second and about a short 7 for QND, closer to 6.
You mentioned it on the last series for QND, and again, that time from Anders wasn't a big hole there. It wasn't a ton to work with, but man, still very decisive in how he ran it. Didn't putter into the hole just because it wasn't real big or just because it wasn't much there. He really powered through that earlier in the season. That might have been a 1 or 2 yard run. That time he kind of powers through the hole and picks up 4.
2nd and 6, pitch it wide to Anders. Makes one man miss, but he can't make the second man miss. As making a nice play coming up that time was number 50, Chase Dietrich. Kyle Cox also into play. So they knock Anders down after about a 1 yard gain, and it's going to bring up 3rd and a short 5 for QND from their own 47 yard line.
QND running that pitch wide a little bit differently tonight. It seems like Anders is lining up with not much depth on some of those sweep plays, and he's really going, instead of really trying to get to the outside, trying to get to the numbers type, he's really just kind of going off tackle.
3rd and about 5 for QND from their own 47 yard line. 2 receivers near side I formation. Quick count. McKay's going to roll out here to the right side. Fires, and it's incomplete. Oh, they're not going to call that a catch, are they? Oh, they are. Oh, my.
I had the QND sideline in my way. I didn't see. Sounds like you disagree.
I thought that ball certainly was trapped at the very most, but they're going to give Welper a catch there at the IVC 43. That's a pickup of about 10 and a first down for QND. And I'm like you. I was standing up, and I can see over the Raider bench, and I had the linesman in my way, but, boy, I didn't think there was any way that Welper got his hands underneath that ball, but they gave him the catch. And it keeps the drive alive.
And I'll take it to the quarter.
So the Raiders get a first down, and I thought there'd be more argument from the IVC sideline, but they didn't really give much of an argument there. As Kyle mentioned, we end the 3rd quarter. QND leads 38-16 as we head to the 4th quarter. Back in 30 seconds here on WTAD.
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Libman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls, even with the internet and email. I feel it's important to really get to know you and your family's needs. Otherwise, how will I know what direction you need to take? Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Libman. He makes house calls. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, New York, New York, 10166.
IVC 38-16, getting ready to start the 4th quarter. Out at Flint Stadium. They're getting ready to start the 4th quarter. Quincy High leads Peoria High School. I think maybe pretty much the same score, isn't it?
31-14.
31-14. So I think the Blue Devils kicked the field goal in the 3rd quarter, and that was all the score. Peoria Central really hasn't been the same since they opened their season defeating Rock Island. They were 3-2 coming into the game, but
that's Rock Island week 1, and Rocky's still like 2-6.
That's their only loss.
Wow,
Rocky, yeah.
Still ain't that high.
And they're number 2 in their class, in Class 6A. Rocky playing Rock Island Alleman tonight. I bet there's a huge crowd up there in the Quad Cities for that tilt.
Sure. Yeah, it's a Peoria Central team the Raiders beat last year and thriller here at home.
On the first play of the 4th quarter, it's a new set of downs, and now a timeout called.
A flag.
And the players barely got to the line of scrimmage, and that far side linesman threw a flag. I wonder if he's going to call a penalty on QND just to try and help out his partner for saying that was a catch on that 3rd down pass. Illegal procedure on QND. I wonder if that was an illegal formation right off the bat. But like I say, QND barely got to the line of scrimmage, and that far side linesman dropped his hanky. That smells of a makeup call to me, but what do I know? But QND's gotten some flags here in the 2nd half, Kyle. That's at least 5 here in the 2nd half on QND. So 1st and 15 for the Raiders from the IVC 48-yard line. I formation, 2 receivers split to the near side. McKay under center will turn, give to Anders. He hits the hole hard. He outruns the defender. He's got 10. He's got 15. Has one man to beat. Head and shoulder move. Takes it to the corner and gets tackled at the 15-yard line for a pickup of 33.
Another nice job by Anders on an inside run. Kyle Cox, the safety for the Grey Ghosts, able to force him out. Just kind of pushed him along into the sideline, had him kind of cut off, being able to cut back to the inside. So Anders another big run, and man, QND, just having a trio of weapons really this year with 2 receivers, and the emergence of Dalen Anders here these last 2 weeks has been a lot of fun to watch.
Anders with 164 yards on 16 carries, so the poor kid's only averaging 10 yards a carry again. When is he going to learn? First and 10 QND from the IVC 15. They give it to Anders. He splits the hole. He's got 10. Oh, nice hit.
Right, nice tackle.
IVC cornerback waited for Anders to get to him and then form tackled him right at the sticks.
Yeah.
And, boy, I don't know if he got the first down to make it first and goal or if it's going to be second and a foot. It looks like it's going to be second and a foot for QND.
Derek Meeks there on the tackle from his cornerback position. It looked like you thought Anders might be able to cut that back inside, score a touchdown. Meeks gets off his block kind of at the last second and really squared up Anders.
So second and a foot for QND from the IVC 6-yard line with QND leading 38-16. I formation, McKay under center, Jimmy Case. Long count, flag down. And the clock didn't expire, so I don't know what this flag's about. Illegal procedure on QND.
Huh.
Who's flinching at the line of scrimmage that only one guy in stripes sees?
They've had these couple procedure calls. They had another scenario where they came out with 13 people to run a play earlier, so trouble getting set a little bit here for the Raiders tonight.
And the only one happy is Dalen Anders because this gives him more real estate to chew up.
Keep his average intact.
But that turns a second and a foot into second and a short 6, if you will. I formation, Ginnebacker to fullback. 2 receivers, 1 to each side. Joe McKay under center. Long count again from the Raiders. McKay turns, gives to Anders. He slices through the hole, but then gets knocked off his feet. And basically got back the penalty yardage. So it'll be third and a short, about a yard for the Raiders. So now Anders with 178 yards on the evening. 178 on 18 carries.
Chappell and Welper here on this play for QND. I wonder if they'll go play action again.
I think they will. Figuring that they can go 4th and 1 from just outside the 5-yard line and either score or keep the drive alive.
You have a little bit more room to work with here from just outside the 5, like you mentioned, as opposed to being, at the half-yard line or so.
An extra ball on the field, so the officials blow play dead, and they'll get the extra ball off the field, and now the Raiders will reset here. They have a full play clock to work with. They wind the clock, and now the Raiders are going to change formations as Chappell comes off the field. They're going to change personnel is what I should have said. Receivers split to both sides, ball in the middle of the field, third and about a yard for QND. I formation, Anders the deep back, in back of Ginnebacker. They give it to Anders, and he'll get the first down inside the 5 to about the 3. So only about a 3-yard gain, but a new set of downs for QND.
We're seeing some of these long counts from Joe McKay out of this I formation, and it looks like they're giving him the freedom to either call an ISO play either to the right or to the left, depending on how the Grey Ghost defense lines up.
Kind of a check with me.
Yeah, it's exactly what they call it. So he's probably looking at this front nose tackle of the Ghost, and if he's lined up a certain way, they might go to the right side. If he's lined up a different way, they're going to the left. It seems every time they've done it, he's run it to the left, to the one hole.
First and goal, QND from the IVC 3. Raiders lead at 38-16, 9.5 minutes to go. McKay stands up, fires, and the pass is popped in the air and intercepted. And taking a knee is Chase Dietrich. Chase Dietrich intercepts the pass on the ricochet. And I don't know if that was off a QND receiver or a defender, but the Grey Ghost dodge a bullet as the Raiders drive it all the way down the field. And then on first and goal from the 3, try a pop pass that gets picked off.
Well, I think they're trying to hit the slant pattern, I think is what they were going for. And I believe Jordan Obert was the intended receiver. Pretty good coverage on there. But unfortunately, instead of the ball just getting knocked to the ground, it looks like it went off somebody's knee up into the air and into Dietrich's hands. And a nice drive for QND, but ends up in a turnover.
And Dietrich, I should say, an offensive lineman and a linebacker, was smart enough to know, you know what, I'm not going to go 100 yards. He ran forward a couple steps and went, taking a knee and learning to play another day. So first and 10, Grey Ghosts on their own 20. Turn, fake. Gould stands up, fires, pass deflected, and almost picked off by Welper.
Brady Ginnebacker getting his hands on that one. Tipping it over Netzel's hands, and Welper almost takes it, almost falls right into his lap for a touchdown. He would have caught it right in stride.
So back-to-back deflections, but not back-to-back interceptions. It's 2nd and 10 for IVC from their own 20. QND leads 38-16, 9:27 left to go in the contest. Out of the pistol, Strable, the running back, behind the quarterback. Noah Gould takes the snap, turns, gives it to Strable, and Strable is only able to get about 2 yards. Logan Schutte, along with, get out of his way. So come on, Luke Friedman on the play as well. He's blocked out by Blake Hilgenbrink. I couldn't see the number of Luke Friedman. So Strable picks up 2. Strable now has 94 yards on 18 carries. And it brings up 3rd and 8 for IVC from their own 22-yard line. They go with the pistol with single receivers to each side, and Strable, the running back, now sidecar right. Noah Gould takes the snap, looking to throw the whole way. Will throw the deep fade to the far side. Caught in stride by the receiver, but he goes out of bounds.
He did catch it in bounds.
Natesel catches the pass and is marked out of bounds inside Raider territory. And Noah Gould just dropped that in beautifully in stride to Kelly Natesel. And from their own 22, Natesel and Gould connect to take the ball to the Raider 44. That's a pickup of 33.
I'm not sure if the pass took Natesel out of bounds there. I mean, his stride wasn't really disruptive. He just must have had to cut to his left more than we're really able to pick up from this vantage point. But you're right. That just dropped right in there for Natesel, and he hardly had to slow himself down at all.
1st and 10, IVC. Inside Raider territory at the 44. Gould takes the snap, looks one way, now comes back the other, throws deep down the sideline again. Knocked away by Welper as the pass was a little behind Natesel.
Good
and you know what? Yeah, there was good coverage that time by Welper, but you know what? I'm not sure if Chappell should even shade to the middle of the field. I think he should just concentrate on the far sideline, and they think they found something that Natesel can outrun Welper, and he darn near has on back-to-back plays, but Welper was able to get enough contact with the ball to knock the ball away from Natesel and complete.
Well, it's 2 plays in a row. Gould's had some time to work with, too. He hasn't had much tonight. I mean, if he's able to spend 3-4+ seconds back there, it does give Natesel more room to get the motor going and try to get behind Welper.
On 2nd and 10 from the Raider 44, they turn and give it to Strable. He makes a cut inside and drags a couple of Raiders, Blake Hilgenbrink, and I'm waiting for the young man to get up. I thought it was Matt Horvath, but I was waiting. And Strable picks up 5. It'll be 3rd and 5 for IVC inside the Raider 40-yard line at the 39. So Strable with 99 yards rushing, and Gould now has 170 passing. 42 pass attempts in this game, 21 for each team. On 3rd and 5, Gould takes the snap, looking one way, now fires over the middle over the head of McIntyre, incomplete. So with 8 minutes to go in the game, it's 38-16 QND leads, and IVC looking at a 4th and 5 from the Raider 39. I would not have believed you, Kyle, if you had told me before the game, hey, you know what, Tim, there's going to be 43 pass attempts.
That is quite a few. That is, and how many IVC's has how many of those?
22.
22. I would have taken under 8.
If I would have told you before the game that if IVC threw it 22 times, they'd complete maybe 5.
Yeah, and then we'd win by 60.
On 4th and 5, Gould takes the snap, looking to throw the whole way, stands up, fires, and it's dropped, incomplete.
Nice coverage.
Barry Welper with the coverage on Natesel. So the QND defense gives up a big play to Natesel on a pass play from Gould, but then the Raiders hold, only allowing 5 yards on the next 4 downs and take over on downs at their own 39, 1st and 10, with QND leading 38-16.
Yeah, attempt trying to hit Natesel on about a 10-yard hitch pattern. Coming back inside towards the quarterback. Welper on his hip the whole way, chasing him down and able to knock the ball loose. So some good back and forth work there between Natesel and Welper the winner on this most recent battle.
And I would be very surprised, Kyle, unless it's 2nd and long or 3rd and long, that QND puts the ball in the air again here, leading 38-16 with just under 8 minutes to play in the game. He gets a steady diet of Ginnebacher, Anders, and maybe Kinsel the rest of the way here. 1st and 10 Raiders from their own 39. McKay pitches to Anders with Ginnebacher in front of him. Anders stops, and now they're going to throw a blocking foul on Ginnebacher. And Ginnebacher turns around, looks, and says, huh? And the official says, you hooked him.
I didn't see that one either.
Holding on Brady Ginnebacher, and that flag is lying 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
that sweep play that the QND is doing tonight, I don't know if they're at it's almost like it's a long handoff.
Yeah,
it's not wide at all. It is very direct.
And it's kind of an old underhand lateral, too.
Yeah.
And now the penalty was marked off from the spot of the foul, which was 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage. So as I was talking about, now it's 1st and 24 for QND. Actually, 1st and 25 with the ball at the 24. And the Raiders have been penalty bound here in the second half. Full house backfield, the power icing receiver far side. 1st and 25 for QND. Kinsel goes in motion towards the far sideline. And they pitch it wide to Anders. Looks for a block, has to cut inside the block, and it has a short gain of about 2. Got it over the 25. Let's see where they spot Dalen Anders. Put him at the 26, gain of 2. It's 2nd and about 23 for QND.
You're right here for QND. Looks like they're going to work this clock. I think they're going to take their sweet time getting these plays called in. Play clock just starts with just over 7 minutes remaining in this ball game.
You know what? So I'm going to try and jump in here as an offensive coordinator. I'd run that lightning play here, Kyle.
Yeah, you haven't seen that much. You haven't seen much of it all this year. As much as QND's gone to the sweep play, you're right. It probably would be a pretty good one.
The power eye, they run a delayed counter to Anders, and he's dragged down a yard behind the line of scrimmage. And, boy, that blocking penalty on Brady Ginnebacher really disrupted whatever QND wanted to do here. Anders picked up about 4 on the carry that the penalty was called on. And once that penalty was called and Raiders had 1st and 25, they went to the Rush Limbaugh offense here.
I agree. They probably did want to run this clock and keep that clock moving by just picking up chunks of yards on the ground.
But now
it's a little
IVC,
hard to do on 1st and 25.
And IVC's just basically selling out, figuring it's going to be running plays. Now the Raiders go spread. 3 of the near side, single receiver far side. Sidecar right is Anders, ball in the middle of the field. On 3rd and about 23, McKay's going to throw the fade. He's looking for Welper, and it's off his hands, incomplete. Welper got behind Bryant, but just couldn't look the ball all the way into his chest. And the Raiders, because of the penalty, go 3 and out here.
Yeah, Bryant just close enough to Welper, I think, to distract him from hauling that one in, probably slapping at his arms and hips there. And Welper, good route, ran the fade pattern there, had to step on Bryant, but not quite enough for the connection.
Zeke Little will punt it away.
So the clock stops also for QND. It's 6 minutes even.
QND leading 38-16. Zeke Little takes the snap. It's slow and wobbly, and he gets the kick away. End-over-end kick that will hit at the 43 and skitter back to Natesel at the 31. Now he'll stop and bring it back to the near side. Kelly Natesel stumbles, gets to the sideline, and is guided out of bounds at about the 42-yard line. Well, actually, they put him out at the 41. So Zeke Little got a really nice bounce on that end-over-end kick, and Natesel basically had it bounce right to him at the 30-yard line and gets an 11-yard return. But IVC takes over 1st and 10 at their own 41, trailing 38-16 with 5:45 left to go in this contest. Austin Tappy now in at defensive end. Well, he was for a moment. Now he checks out. The Raiders going to go with an extra linebacker. They're going to go 4-4 here. Actually, 4-3-4. Figuring IVC is going to put the ball in the air here. IVC late with a substitution. And the young man that just checked in has to run the width of the field to get into formation. 2 receivers near side, single receiver far side from the pistol. 1st and 10 IVC. Gould fakes, now rolls out far side. Looking, fires, and is picked off. He threw it right to Barry Welper for a pick 6. What was Noah Gould thinking about there? Welper with a pick 6. And his 2nd interception return for a touchdown gives the Raiders a 28-point cushion.
Well,
what was that?
Well, good recognition there by Welper. And had Jeff Haley doing a nice job as well. It was Gould looking to his right, did a pump fake to his right, then went back to his left thinking he'd be well outside of any Raider defender. Jeff Haley stayed home. Welper read the out pattern, caught it right in stride. And what a nice job by Welper. Defensive performance by Barry Welper for his 2nd defensive touchdown of the night.
Ben Nord will attempt the extra point. Snap is a little high. The kick is up, and it looks good from here. And it is. So QND with their 2nd pick 6 of the night, both times Barry Welper. They lead Chillicothe the IVC. It's QND 45, IVC 16. Back in 30 seconds on WTNA.
In the past, everyone came to you and you did business at your own kitchen table.
This is Financial Services Representative Michael Libman with MetLife in Quincy. I still make house calls, even with the internet and email. I feel it's important to really get to know you and your family's needs. Otherwise, how will I know what direction you need to take? Call me and I'll come sit with you at your kitchen table.
MetLife offers financial services and life insurance. Call Michael Libman. He makes house calls. Metropolitan Life Insurance Company, New York, New York, 10166.
Touchdown puts the Raiders ahead, 45-16. And the QND cheerleaders doing, what, high kicks for each point?
Yeah, so they did 7 and they did 14. They did 17. They've done however many points the Raiders end up putting on the board. This time they just knocked out 45. So a long night of high kicks. Even had what may have been a former Raider cheerleader join them there. A vintage cheerleader joined them and did a nice job as well. So
I wish I knew that young lady's name.
Having some fun down there and doing the high kick. So this time knocking out 45.
Connor Daniels going to kick it off for the Raiders here. This is going to be a new school record for number of kickers used in one season. And now a timeout called by QND. With 5:35 left to go in this contest. And you know what? There was a chance there for IVC. Trailing 38-16. They forced the Raiders to punt. And on, what, second down or first down? Second down, I guess it was. I thought it was a well-designed play by IVC with that fake rollout and kind of reverse. Gould rolls out one way, stops, pivots, goes the other, and he looked so confident throwing the ball, and he threw it right to Barry Welper, who had nothing but green grass in front of him.
I don't know if he thought Welper was on his heels and that, there was two guys kind of standing and waiting. Either way, Welper had it read and was breaking towards the ball. So, he was not fooled. He had real good coverage, and like you mentioned, he caught it right in stride. So not fooled at all, not back on his heels at all. Welper turning the game back around.
If Welper drops that one, you demote him to the JV team on the spot.
Well, he might have demoted himself. He would have been
well, that's true. Yeah.
Because you knew right when he caught it, it was a touchdown. No problem. There was definitely no one that was going to catch him.
So 45-16, QND leads. Kind of an odd 29-point lead for QND, wouldn't you say?
It is.
And it just seems odd. Just an unorthodox way to get the 45 points tonight. Connor Daniel will put it back in play for QND. Left-footed kicker, and he bangs one. And that will bounce at the 10 and stay in the field of play, picked up at the 4-yard line. And this is a new return man, and he had a full head of steam going until he got to the 25, and he's tackled at the 26. That was Andrew McMorrow, I believe.
Well, you mentioned a little bit unorthodox way to get to 45. We've talked to Coach Day on a number of occasions this year. He talks about challenging his defense to put points on the board. Man, did they do so tonight. So hats off to Barry Welper and Rick Day and this QND defense for doing just that.
Joe McKay with 4 touchdown passes tonight. Dalen Anders with 182 yards rushing on 21 carries. So, again, with IVC throwing the ball 23 times and QND 22, I was not expecting a 45-pass evening from both ball clubs. And now the Raiders late getting a linebacker on the field. Parker Kinsel joins the play almost in progress. And it's the backup quarterback in for IVC as well. Looks like IVC's gone to their second string. Looks like the Raiders trying to mix and match second stringers as well. And a short gain by the ball carrier, who was number 4, Sam Christian.
I think I saw Gould in there still. Maybe I didn't.
No, that's a different quarterback, I think. No, it is. It is Gould. I'll be darned.
But you're right. Both teams, either way, both teams getting a number of different players in there. Raiders just checked in 3 or 4 new guys on the last snap.
Christian lost a yard. It's 2nd and 11 for IVC. And the ball carrier is brought down right at the point of attack. And I didn't pick up his number right away, so we'll wait and see. He was engulfed.
He was. I was just going to say, you had no chance to pick up a number. I think it was 6. I think it was Andy Culbertson. but only able to recognize that because he was the last one to get off the ground.
And he may have made it back to the line of scrimmage. He did. So no gain on the play. 3rd and 11 for IVC. 4.5 minutes to go in the game. QND leads 45-16. And they give it to the running back who has a cast on his arm.
It's Christian.
And he gets to the 25. So he gets the yard that was lost on the series downs back. Actually, no, he gets no gain on the play. So 3 plays and a loss of a yard for IVC, and they're forced to punt it away, or at least line up in punt formation. 45-16, QND leading. And it looks like Barry Welper's night is done. And we'll see what IVC does here. I would assume they're just going to punt this ball away and try and get to the showers as quickly as possible. Here's the line drive kick. Kinsel catches it at his own 42, stops, and it's tackled by the second defender at about the 44 of QND. Some pushing and shoving by a couple of players, but that subsides quickly. And it'll be 1st and 10 QND, and they actually spot it at the 43-yard line with 3:33 left to go in the game, and QND leading 45-16. So the Raiders will be 5-1 on the season. Unbelievably, we're going to be through week 6 here, Kyle.
It always goes too fast.
Raiders will have
I don't look at it as the football season. I call it my weeks with Tim. So it always goes too fast.
Don't make me tear up here with 3.5 minutes to go. QND will be 5-1 and play their final home game. There's not much going on next Friday night, Kyle. It's the final home game, which means it's senior night and it's homecoming and Pittsfield in town for the first time since 1998.
Love it.
Other than that, not much going on next Friday night. Max Memberlow in the game. Parker Kinsel, the deep-back. He takes the pitch. He's got 10 yards. He's got 15 yards. He's got 20 yards. Runs over a man and gets to the 25-yard line.
Parker Kinsel, always fun to watch, getting in on the action. And, man, he just running full speed right away. I mean, I think we said it last week, if there happened to be a brick wall out there, I don't know if he'd slow down or try to get around it or not. He'd just keep going. He knows one speed out there.
That's full bore. And he and Cox had a little. It would look like Cox was like, okay, I'm going to come up and hit you. Well, I don't want to come up and hit you. You're running too hard. Then when Cox got him on the ground, he acted like he made some big hit. And Kinsel's like, what are you talking about? Kinsel goes right on student body right. Stops, cuts it back, gets to about the 30-yard line before he's popped hard.
He was.
So Kinsel picks up 32 on the previous play and then picks up 3. And actually takes it to the 20, to the 21. So a gain of 3, it'll be 2nd and 7 for QND. (22-14), Pittsfield defeats Monmouth Roseville. I'm telling you, Martell Wilson's hurt.
He must be.
There's no reason that Monmouth Roseville can beat Illini West and Wilson get 177 yards rushing, then lose 2 games in a row. Here's a delayed handoff. it's Blake Hilgenbrink who's going to take it to the house. From 21 yards out, Blake Hilgenbrink scores, and the Raiders break the 50-point mark. And some young men on the Raiders sideline turn and look at the cheerleaders and say, warm up, girls.